Like, I think that people think that like people started living cooler lives once social media happened. There's people out there doing cool shit that aren't documenting it. Yeah, and I know that really upsets Matt. But like, it's fucking blows my mind.
I want them to document so I can see it. I'm super stoked watching other people do incredible shit.
Dude, as I've told you for years, I live vicariously through you. So much so that the guy from The Gambler hit me up. He's a huge fucking...
I know, right?
Like he's like a thrower, and he's a huge fan of Power Athlete and Hate. And when I commented on there, he DM'd me and he's like, I fucking love you guys.
We need to make a shitty car.
Well, that's already in the mix. So
sick.
Do you want to fucking get in on this with Power Athlete? And I'll swing by and pick you up on our way to Oregon to run in The Gambler.
When is this?
June, I think it's like 10th, 11th, 12th.
I have to give a tentative on that. That's so shitty to say. That makes me so furious.
I'm just telling you, we already got a car. Like, so what DJ and I are talking about doing is
Miata.
Minivan.
Okay.
Lifted. And we're going to cut the top off and just build a roll cage. And that way we can seat 6.
If we do Astrovan, they're all-wheel drive.
Yeah, no, we're going to do a 4-wheel drive one. And yeah, we've been sketching up looking. I've been looking for this.
It seems like so much fun. If there's any chance, I will kill myself with my schedule. The only thing I can't accomplish is like 2 days in the same place. So like March already, gross. So we have a project coming up with Indian motorcycles.
I know, we talked about it.
Yeah, I'm so stoked on it. So the first trip's like March 10th through 16th. We're going to do a road trip from Charleston, South Carolina to the tip of the Keys, then back to Miami. So that's like the 10th through 16th, like full production, full team.
Oh, where are you going to spend St. Patrick's Day?
Oh, I don't know.
That's like St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah, that's, yeah,
Is it?
Savannah, Georgia is probably the best St. Patrick's Day party I've ever been to.
And that's the 13th, right?
No, that's 17th.
Oh, sorry. I'll be in Patagonia the next day after this trip. We fly from Miami to Patagonia because I don't have time to go home.
Oh, is this with your...
Trova Trip, that company we work with.
Nice.
Stoked, but it'll be an ugly month. It's one of those that like...
How many people signed up for that?
We have 4 or 5 spots left open, so that means 15, 16.
Nice.
Something like that. Dude, the Iceland trip was rad.
I'm so jealous.
Getting to do that with that group of people, and with my mom and her best friend, and the whole thing was really cool. So yeah,
no, if you go back, I'm fucking in on that.
I will go back.
I know.
I know that I'm for sure going to go back for my 40th.
Yeah,
it'll be in 23. So we can plan that out long enough.
Sweet.
Yeah, I'm just going to have the same guy, Body, who did the tour for us, and be like, hey, man, book it. We're going to have this many people. Get a bus. We'll do... You lead everyone around and show them the cool shit.
You know, the best part is those gambler guys bought those shitty little motorcycles, and they rode like 1,000 miles through Iceland on those fucking motorcycles in costumes.
Other than us finishing that crippled.
Dude, like the level of ridiculousness those guys put on, I'm fucking in. And then it was funny when the dude hits me up. He's like, dude, so I got to hit him up and see. Maybe we'll sponsor him.
No, I'm down to do crazy shit.
Yeah, I'm like, I want to show up in like a minivan on 35s. And just, and then DJ's like, well, do we got to bring a recovery vehicle? I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, we should bring the fucking big truck in the shop. And then that way we can at least maybe just hook a line up to it and just drag it through things.
You know what your branding for this minivan should be? So everyone's familiar with the Shocker.
Mm-hmm.
The minivan is 2 in the front, 5 in the back. Just do a peace sign and a fist.
Oh, we can make that happen.
That's a great logo for it, just on the back of the van.
I was thinking...
Well, we do need to paint the picture what this Gambler 500 is for our listeners.
Sorry.
Okay, so for those of you guys that don't know the Gambler...
Live in a cave.
Yeah, the Gambler is by far the coolest fucking race ever. The rules are you find a $500 car. Now, I think it's more like the spirit of $500.
Yeah, that thing seems to have slipped a bit.
Yeah, well, the problem is people probably were paying $500, but they're putting another $25,000 into the vehicle, which it's fucking great. I love putting $20,000 into a $500 truck or vehicle.
I love completely irresponsible people.
So the best is people are like, those aren't $500 cars. You're like, yeah, no shit, because I don't want to die in a $500 car. I mean, it's like the Diesel brothers built that AMC Eagle station wagon,
right?
Trophy truck, And dude, it's on like fucking Innovates. It's like,
It's great.
It's a full trophy truck. It's for sale on Facebook right now. The dude wants $75,000 for it. And I'm like, God, that's just outside the realm of fucking retardedness.
Also, just a hair above 500.
Yes. But that would be an amazing thing to show up on because you could run fucking 80 miles an hour and not even, spill your coffee. It's all trophy trucked out. It's got like, fucking huge 40 spline sway bars. I mean, I was like looking at the DJ sent me the specs and I'm like, holy shit, they want $75,000 for that? It's a lot of money. I don't think we could fucking junk that thing.
You just offer 500 on the marketplace and see what happens.
Well, but I mean, the best part is showing up in a vehicle that had no intention to ever go off road and just fucking yard sailing it.
Yes.
Send it.
That's what I like.
Yeah.
Well, the recovery vehicle. So, like from years past, is it always in the same place? Do you know?
Yeah. So it's somewhere in Oregon, and the idea that they created was they were taking a whole bunch of people that really weren't off-road people, taking a bunch of vehicles that weren't meant to off-road, and under the guise of we're going to clean up the environment. So the idea is that usually, like when people off-road and they go out in the nature, they fucking litter. So part of the gambler thing is not only are you racing, but you're also picking up trash and trying to leave a better environment in which you showed up.
But you're also rewarded by like poundage of trash
Yeah.
you grab. So like people are like, we found a boat, and they're just dragging a piece of shit the rest of the way through the trail.
And these dudes like show up like they'll be in like a Toyota Corolla and they're just fucking these things up. Dudes are wearing like football helmets. They got like spikes on shit. Like it's the most ridiculous shit you've ever seen, to the point where like the first time I saw it, I must have laughed for like days.
Yeah.
And then we've been talking about going on it for years. And then they have spinoffs and they rode these little motorcycles through Iceland. And like these idiots were, geniuses. When I say geniuses, I mean idiots. Idiots
in the
mean
most
geniuses.
lovely, jealous way.
Yeah. And they were wearing like helmets and costumes, and they were riding these little motorcycles through fucking Iceland, like out in the middle of nowhere. And they videoed it. It was fucking great. And so I tagged Matt, and then the dude who's like the main guy hits me up. He's like, dude, I'm a huge fan of Power Athlete, and I'm a thrower. Matt Vincent's like my fucking favorite person. He's like, I didn't know you guys were into the Gambler. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? And at that point,
we need to have him on.
Well, we should.
Okay.
But he's like, you guys are VIPs. Show up in something fucking ridiculous. And I'm like, I'm in. So
I definitely have to dial my schedule.
yeah, well, I'll send you the dates. We're gonna put the truck. We're gonna put the vehicle on the trailer. We'll jump in the truck. We'll pick you up, and we'll fucking go.
Yeah, I got 4 motorcycle trips to shoot and film, and then I have Patagonia, Alaska, and Bali.
Like mini motorcycle or?
No. So
Indian motorcycles.
Yeah, so last year I got a chance to go on this motorcycle trip with Indian. I'm fourth wheeling this thing the whole way. Like
Matt's the king of like being like the like you've heard of the +1. Matt's like the +3.
Yeah.
He's like 3 deep, but somehow when he gets there, he bangs the host. And next thing you know, he's the VIP and they're the pluses.
I'm a goddamn people person. I take the information from the engineers and bring it to the customers.
So what would you say you do around here?
That's it. And so like went on the trip, hit it off with the guy from Indian who like handles that stuff. And so the trip was myself.
Matt's like, I fucking smoked a ton of weed with this guy. Little did I know, he smokes it through his butt too. It was fucking great. Next thing you know, we're brothers.
It's the only way to get it in there. Just bypasses the lungs. Smart.
Dude, I told Texas today, there was some crazy fucking thing. I went to tag Turley in. Kyle Turley, for those of you guys that know, my former teammate. You can't tag him on Instagram anymore because something pops up that he's made too many erroneous, insane claims about marijuana and COVID that they effectively, when you go tag him, it fucking literally this thing pops up and it's like this warning. And even when you hit OK, you still can't tag him. You can't even search him. I tried to search him. I had to write his whole name in. And then I tried, like, it was the fucking craziest thing. I'm like, at that point, you just got to get off. Like, you've effectively, like...
you shot yourself in the foot.
Like, Paul Carter.
I'm aware.
Which one, John?
Well, he had lift, run, bang, and then he had lift, run, bang 1, 2, and 3.
All simultaneously?
No, he just keeps getting booted off of Instagram.
What is he booted for?
Well, originally it was like political stuff.
Okay.
All right. And then he
have a big political background, poli-sci degree?
No, but he's he can spot a conspiracy when they put him out there.
I hear that. I'm excited now.
Yeah. So he gets booted, and then I all of a sudden, the only way I know he gets booted is all of a sudden I see, like, I'll go look and it's like, oh, who's following you? And it's like lift, run, bang 4. And I'll hit him up and be like, hey, man, I think somebody's fucking, faking your account. There's a lift, run, bang 4. He's like, no, that's me. I'm like, what happened to the last, lift, run, bang 1, 2, and 3? And he's like, I keep getting booted. I'm like, what happened? I guess he found some dude on TikTok, and I'm not big on TikTok. So I
understand.
I don't know if you're big on TikTok. No.
I don't understand it.
So there's a guy on TikTok who he felt was ripping off his content. So he called the guy out, and the guy got offended. And so he turned his TikTok army on Paul Carter. Whoops. And they just kept reporting him until they basically deleted his account. And so now all of a sudden I was like, hey man, just stay away from these fucking guys. These guys know how to weaponize this shit. Yeah. You're 50 years old. You don't know how to play these fucking games. I was like,
be nice.
I was like, yeah, man, you can't do this. You just
share information. That's it.
And you should have said, hey, man, I know you've been using my contact. At least fucking throw me a fucking peace sign. Can we do some collab together? That's how you work it. Right. And he's like, fuck that. So then all of a sudden the other day, it's like lift, run, bang 1.0. And I was like, what happened? He's like, I got booted off at fucking Instagram.
I had to update the software.
And then he goes in there and he's like, Instagram hates me. I'm like, well, is it really Instagram hating you?
God, dude. They don't have an opinion. Let's be clear. There's no one working at Instagram that's like this fucking guy.
No, but you know what?
We don't know that.
When a million fucking TikTokers and those kids get in there and they just keep reporting you, fucking, they're like, this guy must be an asshole. Let's take him down.
I'm saying we have turned over to the troll culture. That wins. We have decided popular is right and negative will always get more attention, and now we count it. We switch everything over to it. Like we will absolutely bow to people saying you're not allowed to say that.
Who says that?
What do you mean?
Who fucking bows to that?
Our media?
Oh, our media, not we.
No. It's not the royal we.
Oh, you mean like those assholes?
Yeah, those assholes. But we, as in people in our country, I still consider myself part of that we, even though I just disagree with a lot of them.
Well, I mean, it's kind of like we talked about earlier. There's a lot of shit I don't agree with, but I just don't care to disagree with it.
Sure. I've built a universe that I can basically insulate myself from stupid. It's lovely. I go from my house to my gym, and then I return. And I don't deal with many people. I have food that's delivered to my house, and that's it. It's great. A lovely shut-in. I'm slowly going the way of the Jim Wendler, other than I travel.
Yeah.
I just only deal with people
and you don't drink a lot of Jim Beam.
No.
No, he's
not my ideal drug.
Nah.
He's too many other good ones.
How would you rank Jim Beam in that whole thing?
I put alcohol pretty bottom barrel as far as drugs go. I still feel it really weird as a culture why we back that one. I find that very silly, but here we are.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't mind having a drink, but there's also no stories of some dude smoking weed and coming home and beating his wife and fucking killing his family.
I'm sure there's a few, but there's less.
I just don't know. I mean, there's a lot of stories, a lot of alcoholic parents and, kids that are like, my dad came home drunk, he used to beat the shit out of us. Like, nobody smokes some weed and comes home and does that.
Like, man, after bouncing in bars and doing that for as long as I did, I've never been in a group situation where some guy got so fucking high that he took his shirt off to fight a stranger from across the room that never spoke to him all night. Like, that's never a thing that happens. It's never a side effect of weed. What's the side effect? I need cookies and I'll go to bed. I want more people around like that. Want to order cookies? Yeah.
More kids to tell their kids. It's like, hey, man, let's watch the He-Man on Netflix again. It's like my son last night. I'm like, what do you want to watch? And he's like, He-Man. I'm like, I am in. And I don't even smoke weed. But if you want to watch He-Man, and he's like, what? I was like, anything else? He's like, I really like some ice cream. I'm like, you want to watch ice cream and have some He-Man? Or you want to have ice cream and watch some He-Man? I am fucking in.
Beautiful night.
I'm like, that's a fucking great night for a Thursday night for a 5-year-old.
It's a great night at 40. Stoked.
Dude, did you see that they came out with a whole new, I don't know if you're a Netflix guy, but they came out with a whole new storyline for redid all these cartoons for He-Man. So they had like the original He-Mans, but now they kind of have these. They're not anime, but they're like more modern cartoons for He-Man.
I think the demographic in my house is different than yours.
Yeah.
Netflix.
Well, I got...
you have 2 young daughters and a young...
Yeah, I got 2 10-year-olds and a 5-year-old. And so we have like a weird collaboration of like what we get to watch, which pretty much means we have to watch whatever the lowest common denominator is, which pretty much just resides us to like cartoons and other shit like that. But we can watch some CW stuff. So we've watched like The Legends and Arrow. That's about as far as we get into that violence stuff.
You don't still have like TV, do you? Like cable?
We do for sports.
Okay.
So we still have like very limited cable, but it's purely for NFL and for basketball.
So you still get regular commercials at some point during your life.
Oh, I think it's great.
It's insane.
And what's hilarious is the kids get frustrated.
Have you not had TV in a while?
No, I illegally stream sports.
Sure,
So
but
like the red zone, no commercials. But if I watch a game, hey, I want to tune into this game, then I got to sit through the commercials.
Yeah, so we have it just for sports. Like I was trying to think the last time I watched something on normal TV was a long time ago. Other than like this weekend is fucking wild card weekend, so we're gonna watch. There's gonna be a bunch of dope football on, and then my daughter plays basketball, so we watch a ton of basketball, and then we watch all the Olympics.
Yeah.
So like, and then turns out that there's show jumping for horses on ESPN that my daughter somehow found, and so we got to watch that too.
There's people who act like show jumping horses. I don't know if you're familiar
I
with
am very familiar with it.
subgenre of humans.
And little known.
What do you call that, Charles? What is that like fetish?
No, it's
No,
not.
it's not. I don't know that it's been sexualized. I'm sure it is.
Yeah, well,
Don't get me
everything's
wrong.
been sexualized.
But the girl doing it seems. It's not like she's dressed like a horse.
No, she has a stick horse. It's a
Oh
stick.
no! This is a girl running on all fours and then jumping like a horse over, like a horse jump.
No. Okay, so the one that I saw, and
this is way better.
and I know, yeah, that's way better. And the one that my daughter and her friends, so they have these like toy horse things that are like, you remember like the little kids have like the stick riding horses?
Yeah, hobby horse.
Hobby horses. So they have hobby horses, and what they'll do is they'll set up jumps and they practice their horse riding like in our backyard on their hobby horses. And so it's great because I usually yell, "Fucking good job, nerds!"
Good job.
And oh, dude, I use Revenge of the Nerds, and the problem is my one daughter's like, "Dad, when are we going to get to watch Revenge of the Nerds?" And I'm like, soon.
Is it even? It's R.
Oh yeah, you
Yeah,
don't remember?
it's
Like,
a
I'm
hard R.
tired of Betty's ass. You remember when like
Yeah,
the fact
yeah,
that they
yeah.
broke in, installed cameras, and then peeped on the chicks? Like, there are so many things in that movie
You're not allowed to.
that you're not allowed to do, and you would go to jail forever. Like, like the fact that like he like wore a mask and went in and like, you know, hooked up with the chick under false pretense. I'm like, okay, so there's rape.
It's slightly.
Yeah.
It's a bit.
There's
a lot
like
of rape in 80s movies.
A
lot of
Animal
casual
House
And,
rape.
and then
well.
she's like, "Oh, are all nerds as good as you?" Like, she was okay with it when she found, you know, I'm like,
How about Back to the Future? Like fucking Biff rapes Marty's mom or attempts to.
Yeah.
And then they're fucking neighbors and cool in the future.
yeah.
They just deal with Biff like, oh, Biff.
Biff pushed himself on me
Didn't
again.
he fucking hit her in that scene? Like, I
Yeah.
think he fucking smacks her around
I
too.
think
Like,
so.
Yeah.
Biff's
I
a
gotta go back.
world-class piece of shit.
No, there's a lot of shit, and I think it's funny because we'd watch these movies, and that was just like, well, I guess that's the way it is. And now all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute, Revenge of the Nerds. Not only do they break in and install cameras, so they're like fucking total violation, and they were like, you know, so pornography viewing, like
And
there's
they're selling it.
yeah.
Fuck, they're selling it.
Yeah, they're
Everything's
And,
really
and then they put
entrepreneurial
the naked picture under the pies, so they're fucking selling it. Remember that?
That's right.
He's like, how good's the pie? He's like, it's okay. You know, he shows the pie. So they're selling pies, and then he sneaks in under the mask, goes down on her, hooks up with her. I mean, so like
in the moon room.
in the moon room. So there's a rape scene. I mean, like watching it, I'm like, God damn it. My daughter's, do we ever get to watch it? I'm like,
I don't know.
I don't think we get to watch this because when we saw it as kids, I can't wait to go to fucking college. Now all of a sudden my daughter's gonna be mortified. Some nerds are
30
gonna
is a good age now for Revenge of the Nerds. Like,
now my daughter's gonna be paranoid to go to college. And some fucking dorks are gonna set up cameras.
she won't be
And
worried
don't you
about
remember
dorks.
they were like drilling holes because they were big cameras? Now all of a sudden it's like a pin top. They're like, hey, believe me, technology's way better for fucking spying on chicks.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, what they would have done is done that and opened an OnlyFans. They could have really.
How's
made
your
some
OnlyFans
cash.
coming up?
Haven't got started yet. Consider seeing which way I want to go. Is it tasteful nudes or is it fisting? I don't know.
I'm a little confused on it because one, I've never logged on. Like I just
Okay,
don't understand the fact.
I've been educating myself.
Okay, but here's the thing: like, there's a lot of porn for free on the internet.
Correct.
So
Why?
why would you pay money in that way? And if you look at Instagram, I mean, like,
Sure.
I gotta like, I mean, they don't leave much up to the imagination, so I don't really understand. Like,
So you're using logic. This is where you fucked up.
okay, you're using logic. That's where you fucked up. So explain this to me because I like, there's like, is it porn? Is it more like
it is
I just
essentially
don't.
whatever content that person wants to make. I know girls who are doing it who only post like lingerie bikini shots, and they're not making as much money as girls going for it.
So like what? Like you mean just getting banged?
Straight porn. Like full all the way porn.
Oh.
So it's a gamut of all the way between. Of no nudity all the way to whatever that content creator wants to make.
Oh wow.
And then they can eventually have a membership to their thing. And then if they want to sell individual videos,
so you can pay
as an
extra
add-on.
to
Yeah,
like,
so like, hey, this video with us, instead of the lingerie photos that you're getting for $6 a month, you can buy this video for $30, and it's me taking a shower.
What about the chick selling her farts?
Good for her. If you found a market, great work.
She's like, I was making $35,000 a month selling farts.
Man,
And then I'm thinking, who are those guys?
I tell you, it's one thing to like hear these numbers from OnlyFans, talking to people. And like I met a girl and we were chatting, and now she had done porn in the past, and so had plenty of a background. People know her, blah blah blah. And she was like, "Yeah, the OnlyFans thing changed everything." I'm like, "Do tell." And she was like, "Well, we've been doing it for 3 months, and we've been averaging a little over 200 a month, 200K a month, for not shipping anything out. Like it's just coming in cash." And I'm like, "Show me that on your fucking phone. You show me that there's $200,000 coming in a month from that app." And she did.
She pulled out the app and
Yep.
I showed her.
I was like, "Oh, I don't have anything negative to tell you about what you've chose to do. You're in fucking full like I don't like there's no part of me that
like,
can tell you why you shouldn't do that."
Like the porn industry to me was always real fucking like dirty and strange.
For
And like,
sure.
I mean, that whole like the whole thing just reeks of like weird Armenian dudes just fucking.
We're getting rid of gatekeepers.
Yeah.
And that I dig that. And
Well,
like
it's
YouTube's
because
that way.
they're able to go direct to consumer.
That's it.
So there's no more fucking weird,
Agents
or other fucking weird casting dudes that are getting, hey, you want to get naked and do weird shit on the here's your direct to consumer.
You also don't have to go on set and be around 10 fucking people. It's you and your partner in your place or travel. Like the options are infinite.
Yeah, you set up a webcam and next
Right.
thing you know.
So like, dude, we've fucking laughed about it. I'm like, are we choosing not to make that money right now? Because these are things we like doing. We like fucking and traveling. Why? I was like, we should just at least start banking footage. We turn 50, it's just like, unleash it. And then we retire.
So how'd that conversation go with Bonnie?
Oh, she thinks it's fucking hilarious. We both laugh about it. I mean, what's the reality of that? Probably very slim.
Well, I mean, you guys aren't going to have any kids.
No.
So you've kind of resided the fact like,
Yeah, I'm snipped. I'm
yeah. And I know
she's
she went,
no interest yet.
yeah. So so, I mean, at the end of the day, it's not like
not anyone's
your
decision.
kids have to go to school and, some kids somehow finds out that back in the, 2022, your mom and your dad were
Sure.
fucking selling fams only fucking dong pics.
And also, who cares? I don't think that anyone gives a shit anymore.
Yeah. I mean,
Or, I'm sorry, the
unless-
people that give a shit are dying.
Yeah. I mean, I
Or,
don't know.
or the people that give a shit, I'm not that worried about their opinion. They're not supporting your thing anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So fuck them. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I dig that people are out there fucking choosing their own life and whatever that means. And if they're happy in doing it and making a living and they don't have to answer to someone else or do a job they hate or any of that, fucking got your back, dude. Rock and roll. You're not hurting anyone.
Yeah. I mean, and people are like we talked about, we kind of like tuning into Joe Rogan's podcast. You can choose to not tune in.
That's
like
right.
I don't have a
Change the
fan,
channel.
OnlyFans, or
Right.
is it fans only or OnlyFans?
OnlyFans.
So I don't have an account. No, go make one for me, you fucking weirdos.
You might as well just lock it down. This is the next pay site. This is
Right.
Power Athlete moves there just
Right.
for paid content.
But think about it. Like, I mean, if you don't want to fucking tune into it, don't fucking don't get in there.
Which is why I've never understood like a negative comment. I understand discussion. I understand disagreement, but I don't understand like, fuck this guy, blah, 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 or this should be taken down. Like, there's so many things to watch. Why are you looking at anything that you don't like?
I think people feel better by saying negative shit.
I've seen some guys that actually like post, say they getting negative comments from their content, and then show like the DMs from this one individual that's saying like, F you, you suck. And then he's just showing like, okay, I'm sure your frat brothers are agreeing with you, whatever. Just like trying to dig on them and call them out for how obsessed they are at telling this individual that they suck. And that just blew my mind. Like,
well, the only thing I can equate it to is you've obviously seen a bunch of stand-up comedy. Right? I love going and seeing live stand-up comedy. It's one of my most favorite things to do. My least favorite thing about it is some fucking drunk heckler who decides that he wants to be in the show and then starts helping. Yeah, I mean, it's like, hey, motherfucker, I didn't pay to fucking see you act like a fucking asshole. And then my favorite is the comics who are well-skilled comics and and even better, are well-skilled at fucking eviscerating these fuckheads, start turning it on and just fucking lacing these dudes. And then they get pissed and the whole thing. And I've been in a couple of them where I'm like, dude, fuck you. You're ruining my experience. I'm here to laugh. Stop fucking feeling like you want to be it. If you want to be in it, they got open mics, dude. That's right. Go fucking do it. I feel like hecklers are a lot of like those dipshits. Like I'm at this thing to have a drink and laugh my fucking ass off, and you're ruining my experience. Fuck you. Now I want to beat your ass.
Yeah, it's a terribly narcissistic thing, right? Of some part of that person that thinks like, I think the psychology of that is they don't think they're being an asshole, and they think they're helping.
Or they think they're
making the show better.
No, they think that they're funny, and they think that they're as funny as the comic, so they're somehow contributing and showing the world that they're funny. And like to the point where last one I was out, I was like, yo man, you're not fucking funny. You're ruining this.
Stop.
And the guy was like, woo, and this, and I'm like, I'm not like, my wife's like, what are you gonna do? I'm like, I'm gonna fucking kill this dude.
It's a real shame that we're not allowed to deal with this prick in a way that,
or we should be able to fucking deal with things through, like in Iceland, like Mortal Kombat.
Is that how? That's what I've seen in the streets over there. It's
I
really
feel like when you go to Iceland, it's like you have a disagreement. You're like, get your sword. I'll get my family sword, and we'll just hack it out on the
family
streets.
Sword. It just lives above the threshold
on your mantle. You're like, what's that for? It's for settling disputes. Everybody has their family sword, and then
for duels.
Yeah, you have to go wield it, and then you cut people in half. That's what you do to assholes. That's why there's so few people. They just got rid of the assholes.
The whole country is basically on Highlander.
It's great. I'm not upset about that. That's how I think we should get. I want to get like Jay and Silent Bob. Remember when they're like those shitheads are talking shit about us on the internet? And like, knock on. What does he say? Like your user 1 2 3 4 5. Bam.
Did you say? Yeah. And then read back.
It'd be so much better.
It's like what is it? Letterkenny. That guy's like, we'll cut out the middleman of the internet. The internet. We'll call them up.
But I mean, is it the fact that the age-old Mike Tyson, like this internet culture is giving a lot of motherfuckers real confident to say a bunch of shit that they normally get their fucking asses kicked for?
I agree with that, but I don't see anything trending to believe we're going back the other direction instead of more of that.
What do you think? What do you think about this metaverse deal?
I don't know. I picked up an Oculus.
I know.
Starting to fuck with it.
I saw you. I saw it at Costco.
Good time.
And then I saw you. Fucking, I don't know what the fuck you were doing.
They're great fun. I was playing Beat Saber. They're neat. They're fucking really cool. And you can I'm saying within 3 or 4 minutes, you no longer believe that you're in the environment that you put the headset on it.
Like you're so engrossed in this environment.
Because it feels like it. You walk around this room. Right. And like you can look out of the windows, you can walk up and look over an edge, and like you set the boundaries of the room before it starts. And so it'll warn you that you don't run into shit. But man, you can freely walk around and do that. And it's interesting. It's a really interesting thing. And if I look at it like this is Atari, and what is the PS5 going to be? Like what is this in 10 years? Fascinating. My concerns, if I'm going to get conspiracy theory on you.
Oh, really? Hold on. Should we get on our tinfoil hats? Wait, hold on. Dun, dun, dun. Charles, drop some interesting music in at that moment, okay? Hey, where's your microphone?
Dun, dun, dun.
I'm mic'd up.
Okay. So now what we do is, Charles, we talk to him, and all of a sudden I'm like, how come you're not mic'd up, motherfucker? We need you to fucking drop in here.
I think we kind of have 2 camps in our country, right? We have those who are pro-vaccine mandate, those things, and then we have the not those things.
You mean the people that are just live your own fucking life, do whatever the fuck you want to do?
Perfect. Yes.
Take another one too.
Those folks, right? Then the concern for me is between those 2 people, one side, which I would consider the vaccine side, has the government back. Like that is the main push from the people in power. is that is the only way, it won't be discussed, stay home, fear, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, but what's wild is the CDC came out, the other thing was yesterday, and they were like, here's the deal. Even if you're double vax boosted, every fucking vaccine, you're still going to get it.
Yeah.
And you're still going to be able to.
vaccine.
Well, here's the thing: you can still get it, you can still transmit it, and you can it's insane.
Did you get it?
Which
COVID.
no,
We're the last two standing.
We are playing. We are in a.
However, I'm vaccinated, so I don't know if that counts.
So no, but
I
we're
got vaccinated.
We're but it doesn't matter if you're vaccinated or not. It doesn't reduce your chance of getting it. Now, what's crazy about us is we are playing this fucking Deadpool. We're waiting to see. So you can be on our Deadpool.
All right.
We haven't got it. And
the only chance that I had it would have been like December of 19 going into 20. I had a really gnarly flu when we went to Costa Rica for ayahuasca. I don't remember having any issues with smell or taste though.
How I wanted to ask you a little. I mean, I know Tex will get upset, but I want to talk to you about the plant-based medicine stuff.
We got to finish one
let
topic.
me dive into conspiracy. Sorry.
Wait, hold on. We'll get
Text,
into this.
keep notes.
Yeah, Tex notes. Now
Plant-based medicine.
what you got to remember is we have severe ADD.
Yeah.
You have the notepad.
We can have like 7 different simultaneous conversations that all somehow come back to one and then splinter and then come back.
What I've always seen is that's what the listeners love.
Yeah. Every conversation. I mean, dude, the
Straw poll.
first time I ever sat with Matt was at we were at, I want to say, a Starbucks in Costa Mesa many, many years ago.
Yeah.
And what's hilarious is I'm like, first of all, I can't believe we haven't been friends longer.
Right.
And then I was like, how have we not met each other? And why are we just finding each other at this point?
This is great.
And then his ability to fucking go off on tangents and bring it back, I was like, that reminds me of myself.
Perfect.
Okay, so let's get into
Yeah.
conspiracies.
So if that side is backing that, the homestay mandate, fear, those type of things, that side would also be backing this virtual metaverse, right?
Why?
So Facebook, Instagram, social medias, they are pro vaccine fact checkers,
Yes.
right? Like anything negative, they own this technology that also would be really benefited if people quit going outside. That building a virtual safe world,
Sure.
right? So that's one side. The other side of that is Uncle Elon. Uncle Elon with Neuralink, his plan of tech isn't to make tech build a new reality. He's trying to use Neuralink to make tech improve this reality.
So what's wild that I just saw him interviewed. He said, dude, with the neural implant, they're a year away from this. You can basically access Google through your mind.
Right.
Like instead of like, hold on, let me enter this into Google, you can sit there and fucking Google's in your mind.
I think you have to open your eyes wider like that, though.
Yeah. Right. And then the other cool part is if somebody else has the link and I have the link, we can communicate without talking.
So we can just sit here in a podcast and say nothing.
Right. So big picture problem of that. This will be expensive technology for sure.
In the beginning.
In the beginning, right?
Yeah.
The separation of people who have it and don't will widen really, really fast. If you and I can communicate telepathically using this tech, which means not only am I just getting words from you, I have your intent. So we don't ever misunderstand each other now, right? Like I'm getting intent, and not even your vocabulary is in the way. You're sending an idea to me.
Sure.
If we can all do that and say the 20 people I'm around communicate that way, do you realize how quickly we make progress in understanding and drive?
Here's
and
the
then people
problem.
who don't.
You're going to be like, I can't believe all you think about is eating grilled cheese sandwiches.
Well, I don't think it's rude thoughts, right? Sure.
Like you're like, I truly have access to your mind, and I can't believe all you do is think about grilled cheese sandwiches.
Damn, they're good.
They're so good. I mean, like that's what I'm worried about. What if you all of a sudden you're like as I access Tex's mind, it's just a rat running around on a wheel watching like old fucking like Tom and Jerry cartoons, and you're like,
well, my first thought is how many arguments am I going to get into with the CGO? What am I thinking about? I'm already in
like
trouble.
I said, so stop thinking about it like you can read my thoughts.
Okay.
And think about it like I'm choosing to send you a text.
yeah, but how do you make that distinction?
Doesn't fucking matter.
People already fuck up sending the text.
Am I going to see like a screen in my eyeball like I'm Steve Rogers from
I'll
like the
let
$6
Elon-
million man?
I'll let
and all of
Elon
a sudden
figure
I'm
out
gonna
all
be like,
these details.
and then all of a sudden I send it to you.
I have a general studies degree. I am not in any way.
I know you're like, I don't understand this
I'm here to
text.
speculate wildly.
But here's the bigger issue. I'm a people person.
That's right.
So there's a few problems that I have with the metaverse.
Okay.
One is which and I've said this numerous times to Charles, and I still think he thinks I'm crazy, but somebody is the gatekeeper for the metaverse. So let's say, for example, I buy NFT.
Zuckerberg?
Well, just any of these metaverses. Somebody has to allow you access to that metaverse. So let's say I buy land in fucking Facebook's metaverse.
Okay.
Right? And I go there and I want to go to my Snoop concert because he's going to metaverse. And I do or say something like my vaccines aren't up to date or I haven't done X, Y, and Z. All of a sudden I go to get in the metaverse. You're not allowed to go to your house.
You think you need vaccines to go in the metaverse?
Who knows?
Fascinating.
Right?
You're not wrong.
Well,
we have a lot to deal with.
McAfee's next thing.
But let's
Virus software.
He's doing great.
Yeah.
But let's say I've somehow done.
That's awesome.
Isn't he dead?
I think so.
Yeah, he did.
He left a trail of people on the
Yeah,
way.
there was
He's
a whole-
fucking
yeah.
lunatic.
Well, the conspiracy theorists think that he knew something and they had to get rid of him. Now, but think about this, right? Somebody has
No
to.
one who dyes their beard knows anything important.
With the metaverse, you have to be able to like load on to like, let's say it's Wi-Fi, for example. Like you have to be able to get on the line and you have to access the metaverse. Somebody is the gatekeeper, kind of like Turley on Instagram. You can't tag him.
Sure.
So like my thought is like, so now you have another gatekeeper. Like if I want to go outside and cut down trees and fucking set a fire and fucking hang out and drink beers, nobody's stopping me. But if I want to do that in the metaverse, somebody has to grant me access to that metaverse.
That's right.
The three biggest platforms right now are Decentraland, Somnium Space, and the Sandbox.
Right. So within those that you can buy land. Here's one of the issues I have with that going forward that I think it's worth people fucking acknowledging before we all cast our vote to agree with this. I'll figure out how to use it to my advantage, whichever way we end up going. Whatever. But this is a virtual place. Land is valuable because of scarcity and location. If I can travel virtually, which doesn't take any time, location's no longer important. And then two, if it's digital, it's only scarce because it got programmed to be.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, what's the parameters?
So now we are committing to a God who created a world that started with scarcity from jump.
Yeah.
That's what causes all of the shitty things between people.
Yeah.
Is a lack of resource and scarcity.
Well, I mean, the reason that beachfront real estate in Newport Beach is expensive
course
is
it
because
is.
they're not making any more of
They
it.
don't make any more.
And here's the deal: if I don't get the spot that I want in fucking the Sandbox, there's always going to be another one. I saw Microsoft starting theirs. Facebook has theirs. Everybody's, there's going to
Everybody's jumping on board.
dude, all these gaming. So like now, PS5 and all these other like Sega, whatever, are all going to have their own virtual metaverses where now you can play within them. Which is, I mean, in terms of the video game space, and Brett Hawker, one of the guys that follows our stuff, his whole deal is within video games, and he listens to this podcast. So Brett, fucking giving you some props. But he sent me a real interesting video on it. And in the gaming space, to me, it makes sense. Like, I want to play Halo. I want to be in Halo. I want to fucking go to fucking Halo Land and blast fucking aliens. I get that piece, and that part makes 100% sense. I want to go to the metaverse because Snoop's putting on a concert with, who knows, with fucking somebody, and I can go from my home and go to this concert and feel like I'm walking around.
And you and I could be there together.
And we're over there fucking
I
trading
fucking get that.
dope fucking dubstep moves.
Dude, we're just sitting there laughing, but we're both on our couches. I'm not mad about that.
like you're in St. Louis, I'm in Austin. We're both sitting on our couches.
And it feels like this.
And we're feeling like this. Like that I fucking get.
That tech I'm super into, man.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, we still know it's not fucking real.
I know that. But so with that, I really, really believe that your perception is indeed your reality.
So my favorite was this dude. He was riding in his car, and he and his girl were in the metaverse. They started hooking up, and it showed them what they looked like in the metaverse, and then it cut to them in real life.
Not ideal.
Nah, like they looked way better. Like I was like, is this because you guys are disgusting?
This is one of the issues I really have with the whole metaverse thing, is that I've put a lot of fucking effort into curating my real universe.
Yeah.
I like my fucking house. I like my gym. I like my space. I like my creative area. I like my vehicle. I like my fucking avatar. I don't want a fake one. It's not better than the one I built.
Well, you know why? Because my avatar can cut down trees. I can do shit with it.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day,
My
I
avatar's bitching.
I don't know how the Neuralinks, like, until they can, like, this is a weird thing I was thinking. I'm like, how do they hardwire this thing in such a way? Because until they figure out the sex piece, where like I'm in the metaverse, I can bang.
It's like Demolition Man.
Yeah.
3 seashells.
Yeah, that whole deal. Until they figure out that piece, this thing's broken. But at the end of the day, like,
quick thought on that.
I was
note.
fortunate to play in the. I was. What was great about being a professional football player was we had access to a lot of amazing ladies, and it was great. There's no metaverse that's going to somehow fucking trump 10 years in the NFL.
Yeah. I don't think 10 years in the NFL, guys like you are exactly their target demographic. If I'm fucking guessing.
Yeah.
But they're not like, how do we get all the NFL players in here who are living great lives? Like, no. They're fucking trying to save basements.
A funny antidote. Oculus, I've done it before, and like you're fighting, you're
I
playing
watched
games.
this fucking idiot doing it the other day.
That's exactly
for much longer than I should have because I was waiting for you to fall down.
I punched my TV once.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at. Like, there's plenty of videos. I've done it. Luke had it, and you videotape each other, and you look like idiots.
Yeah.
It's funny. But like what you said, these two people are hooking up like thousands of miles away. And laughing at what their body is doing.
He was like doing this
alone.
Is that any weirder than watching Pornhub and jerking off? I mean, except now you're dealing with a person. Like
People
and like that's where I see the OnlyFans content going is like you can actually interact with that person. Because right now we're having fucking cartoony avatars, right? This is Atari.
I don't know.
This is Atari. Where this tech never goes away again.
Yeah.
That this cat is out of the bag.
Yeah,
it's the
now-
same deal with social media
Yep.
and any of that. Like if you were to take right now and look back 15 years and look forward 15 years, and then we look to this as this middle point. Like tons of changes with social media in the last 2 years with regulations and information.
Well, what's weird is that this thing was a fucking Wild West.
That's exactly it. It was the fucking Wild West when we got started.
But here's the thing, like, it's a Wild West for fucking people that are fucking cowboys and fucking crazy people.
Goddamn right.
Right? Like for the most part, there isn't a single day that goes by that I'm not completely fucking blown away by what people are willing to share on social media.
Yeah.
There's
About their skincare routine or
no, like that's my favorite where it's like I've been getting hundreds of DMs about my skincare routine.
No one sent you shit.
Nobody sent you anything.
No, we all laugh about it.
Yeah, dude, that's my favorite.
Dude, we laugh about it with like me and Bonnie or Bart and Gio or any of that. So like anytime one of us is like, everyone's been asking.
Yeah.
It's like no one said shit.
I've been getting a ton of DMs about my skincare routine. Here's my code. I'm like, get the fuck out of here.
Get the fuck out.
But like no, I fucking know.
Well, you had a great point about we're not going backwards.
Nope.
Like NFTs, crypto, like we're going to look back 20 years from now. We're going to be like, wow, can you believe that we never owned a digital good?
Right.
We never actually had that ownership.
No, it's very interesting.
Yeah,
Right?
well, did you
with
see the dude who
NFTs.
got all of his fucking NFTs stolen? And he spent like $1 million on NFTs and they stole them and he was like complaining and they were like, who are you going to call to get him back?
Well,
as I was telling fucking Charles, that in this world, you have to have a fucking Chuck Norris on your computer squad who can go out and defend you because it's Wild West. If somebody can punk you and steal your shit,
in the Wild West right
you
now.
got to have
Bitcoin and
you got to have. I mean, dude,
even Bitcoin may still be the Wild West.
dude. So I didn't know this, but over $400 million a year of cryptocurrency gets ripped off. Wow. So people get their crypto fucking hacked and ripped off all the time.
How much real money gets ripped off?
You mean by bank robbers and shit?
Or anyone?
Oh, I'm sure more money.
Okay.
But it's pretty amazing that you have a situation. And I was telling Charles, I'm like, hey, man, in this Wild West, like, there's nobody to fucking complain because it's not regulated. It's not like you can call the police and be like, oh, you stole my NFTs. You know what they're going to say? What the fuck's an NFT?
Yeah.
But you got to have somebody on your fucking side who's like, oh, I swing a 12-inch fucking hammer and I'm coming over to fuck you up.
Well, look, when we started, especially with social media and any of that, like how long were people like, it's on Facebook, it's not real? Like people treated internet information as not real. Like that was a long time like, oh, that's just on the internet. We're past that. That's
true.
You are now fucking punished for being a prick. Like you can't just go on there and be a fucking asshole.
Well, what was funny is when we originally started in this thing, people would fucking put a bunch of so I've always had the NFL optics, which is don't say anything that you have to apologize later on. Because dudes used
it's way easier life.
Well, it is. So dudes used to say shit all the time. And I'll be like, at some point you're gonna have to apologize for that. So my whole deal is like, don't say anything that I really have to apologize.
Nope.
And so I'll see people be like 10 years ago, and you'll read these tweets and you're like, that's fucked up. Like, you didn't think at the time you were going to say that. They're like, well, I didn't think anybody was going to read it. I'm like, well, you weren't famous then. Now you got a fucking 5 million followers, and people love to go back and fucking look at what you said in the past, and you said some racist fucking homophobic shit. Now you're going to get fucked.
So even the fact that we treat people like that, right? That like you're accountable for everything you've ever said for the last however, because we now have a text version of it.
Yeah.
Two things there that really concern me. One, we learned long fucking time ago that communication, 99% of it is done with nonverbal. And we've eliminated and we've become a text-based society. So that's why people read shit out of context and don't understand. And then you have days to read it in whatever mood you're in. It's a really fucking weird thing. Then if we're going to be a text-based culture like that, it's a bit concerning going forward if we're not going to have one-on-one communication or empathy or any of those type of things that come with the nonverbal parts of communication. I mean, hell, even with my team, something I've introduced is that, like, if in our Slack channel of us dealing, since my team's a bunch remote, that if there's any to go back and forth, that there's like, I don't understand what you want to get done and you're trying to this, it's a fucking phone call. Talk to each other as fucking people.
Yeah.
We'll sort this out. You hear each other, and there's less reading those words in my intent. It's a real weird thing going forward with not having verbal communication or people that don't have the skill to do it.
Well, I mean, nonverbal communications and interacting with people is a skill you only develop through practice.
That's all skills.
But everything, like your ability to, like, you know, I mean, think about like getting up and presenting and speaking in front of a group of people.
Yeah.
The only way you get good at that is by doing it a shitload and
It's super fucking uncomfortable all the time.
yeah, and getting up there, and then you get to the point where you start telling jokes and people think it's funny, and all of a sudden you reach into routine, and then you fucking slip into this thing. What I worry so much is that because we've gotten into this, all these other fucking medians, that people have lost the ability to interact with people. And that's why, for my kids especially, I was like, we are not fucking homeschooling and we are not doing remote. We have to find, and we sent our kids to public school because it was in person. And I was like, my kids need to go sit. And I remember Rob and Nikki Wolf were like, you know, you guys should homeschool. And I'm like, we can. But at the end of the day, I want my kids to go and listen to somebody other than me. And I want them to sit with a class of individuals, deal with these social constructs. I mean, if they just sit at home with us, they're just going to get one thing. I want them to be exposed to a ton of fucking shit.
You should be. You should be exposed to tons of stuff. Also, expose yourself to shit you don't agree with.
Yeah.
On a regular basis.
And on top of it, just because you don't agree with it doesn't mean that you have to cast stones at it. There's a ton of shit. Like, I tell people all the time, you're going to come across something on the internet you don't agree with and just keep scrolling.
Right.
Like, I see shit all the time where I'll be like, I don't agree with that. And I just keep
it's
going.
like people telling me vegan's healthy. I'm like, oh, okay, sick. And then I just move on.
Well, I even with that piece, I just don't even care to engage me anymore.
Right.
I'm like, hey, you know what? You live your best life.
I believe you can eat that way healthy.
Yeah, but you want to talk about the greatest form of fucking white privilege, of just rich privilege. The fact that you can eat a diet that completely goes against everything within our evolutionary code because you have the money to make it happen.
Yeah.
It's the greatest form of fucking privilege I've seen.
Yeah, I'm very into the amount of availability we have of everything right now.
What's weird is we've never had this much resource. We've never had this much availability. But then you have people that just want to fucking cast stones that this is the worst time we live in. Like
that's Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? Like all the fucking main stuff is sorted. And so we have to keep bitching about finer details. And that's no one 150 years ago is talking about like, I don't know my calling. Do you know what I fucking mean? Like we have more existential things to deal with now because we have time.
Well, we also have everything available to us to increase our, to add convenience to our lives. So we've never had a time we've had so much availability in terms of like access, and nobody has any fucking time for anything. Look at you.
Yeah.
Hey,
I'm doing super cool shit.
Yeah, but think about all the availability, all the technology, and you're like, I don't know where I'm going to fucking be in June. And I'm like, June, whatever the dates are, June 10, 11, 12, we're going to fuck up some fucking shit cars.
All right.
And you're like, oh, I don't know.
My brain doesn't remember dates well. I'll have to access the Oracle.
You done smoke yourself retarded.
That's it. Just smoked dumb. Can't remember. Not a numbers fella. I don't even remember dates. Just tell me where I'm supposed to go tomorrow. It's great.
I'll call your people. We'll book it. You know what's going to happen? I'm going to pull up in front of your place in St. Louis, and there's going to be like a bump. You're like, somebody just honked. I think I got to go with them.
I think
be
I'm
back.
leaving.
She's like, and then your girl's out there. She's like, have fun storming the castle.
Have fun. Heck yeah. And she would. She fucking dig it. Super fun. Yeah, man. I don't know. I just want to adventure as much as possible. Why not? I mean, both routes of adventure and non-adventure in the same way.
Well, at the end of the day, my dad said nobody's getting out of this thing alive, so you might as well have a good fucking time.
0% survival rate. It's always been that way, everyone. Let's not fucking pretend the last year's changed that. We're all fucking dying.
Well, and more importantly, I don't understand people's desire to live in fear.
It seems to me to be a very, very odd choice.
Like, why is it that the fear of the unknown is now more prevalent than it's ever been within our society? Like, there's way scarier things out there to me than COVID.
Yeah.
Like there's so many more scary things out there to me than that. Like, you got North Korea fucking doing nuclear testing.
Or not even the nuclear testing, just what they do to their own people.
Yeah.
A thing that we don't ever get involved with because of China.
So I went to, I've talked about this, but I got invited to speak at a conference on national security for the U.S. military. And I got to go present on the largest threat to national security, as I viewed it, was a lack of physical readiness for 16 to 18-year-olds, and then also for 25 to 33-year-olds or even 40-year-olds, because that would be if you follow the Second Amendment when they call it the militia, that would be the able-bodied militia. And so the lack of fitness. And so one of the other guys went in there and was like, there was a whole bunch of scary shit, like everything from like the Facebook pages that are like the right-wing Christian Facebook pages.
92%.
96% of those are run by fucking Ukrainian Russian bot farms. And all of that information. So like when your parents are on their Facebook Christian right-wing, Trump's playing 4D chess, he's in charge, all this conspiracy shit, that is fucking propagated by Russian bot farms for those fucking people.
But he is playing it with the checkers pieces.
Yeah, 4D chess. So like, Bob and April Packy, who are over there forwarding chase letters, they don't listen to this podcast. And the Penguin doesn't listen to this either. So
Penguin? Like from Batman?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He lives up in Dallas.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he lives up in Dallas.
Wait, who's the Penguin?
The premier Penguin in strength conditioning?
We don't want to give it away on the show.
Yeah, well, we know.
We'll talk after.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll tell you.
Fair
after.
enough.
But so we got Bob and April Packy, they are those people that live out on this, whole deal. Like those people are being influenced by Russian bot farms.
That characterizes chain letter folk. So if they received one, they would send it out to their mailing list.
Like big MAGA people.
I got you.
But like that type of deal, man.
Like the JFK Jr. people.
Yeah. So what's wild is those sites on Facebook, and the crazy part is Facebook knows that.
Yep, they don't care.
They don't care.
It's not their job.
No, they're just a platform.
Right.
And what's wild is like the dude showed the heat maps on these sites where this information was coming from, and it's fucking deep in Russia. And then they showed pictures of the factories and the bot farms and the whole deal. And I'm like, this is scary because these are the people that are voting and they're being influenced.
So question. They know this, allowing this, but then Kyle Turley, let's get that dude. So who decides?
Where do you think we keep our bot farms that we troll both China and Russia? Do you not think
They're
we're
in Utah.
playing back?
They're in Utah.
Named Kyle Turley?
No, so what's interesting on this COVID deal?
Because we're doing that to them.
Yeah, dude, everything like...
There's no fucking way.
Dude, Van Halen, you remember in their song, remember where they had all this...
Jeremy.
No. That's Pearl Jam. But in it, they were like, the problem is we think, or our country does things that we only think other countries do. We're exactly doing the exact same shit to them. We're destabilizing.
100%.
Like the whole thing with the elections and this, and like that's what we've done to countries for years. We go in and destabilize elections. This is our fucking game plan.
Like, I think it's really... Do people
Deep
not
breath.
think the government lies to us? Like, is that a thing that you think's going on with some group of it?
Well, so what's wild to me is that I've sat there and listened. At my kids' school, I got called to a parents' meeting with. They reached out to a few different parents, asked me to come. So I show up. I'm the only one that shows. All the other parents were on Zoom because they were too scared to be there, which, mind you, was already fucking a tip.
Or lazy.
So we get into this, and the one dad goes, he multiple masks, multi-weekly testing, this whole thing. And I'm like, first of all, the CDC's fucking information is pretty accurate. Like, the masks don't fucking work.
Right.
And, so like, let's just throw that out. No, the masks have been proven. I'm like, no, they haven't.
By who?
And I everything. And then it just basically, as we were just dismantling different arguments, where it finally ended it. But what if somebody dies?
People die all the time.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, so
You just play the meme of Dolph Lundgren, like, if he dies,
he dies. But he was like,
just send that in.
right? And then the dad was like, we'll feel comfortable when all the kids are vaccinated. And I was like, all right, well, let's get this straight. This doesn't kill kids.
No.
Right? So then if it doesn't kill kids, why are we going to vaccinate it? And they were like, well, to protect the parents and the teachers. I'm like, well, aren't they vaccinated?
Is this?
And so like it was so ridiculous, and it just boiled down to this emotional like what. And I at that point I was like, hey man, you've transcended rational thought, and now you're just living in this hyper emotional place, and I can't fucking deal with you in this emotional place. So you know what? I'm fucking done.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out
That
of
doesn't make any sense.
No.
What about getting your kids to this Tim Kennedy school that's out here? I think he started a school.
Tim Kennedy started
Yeah.
school?
I think a friend of mine, Mike, his kids go there.
Oh, really? Is it a religion of Tim Kennedy?
I don't know that it's a religion, but it seems to be like super, like there's 30 kids. He's interesting. I dig that dude.
Mm-hmm.
I think Tim Kennedy is one of those guys that, he walks the walk. If nothing else,
Yeah. No, he's yeah.
I don't find him. to be,
I just don't know.
yeah, just seems to be a super stud. He's a fucking interesting human. Still goes over, still war fighting, still helping get people out. Like, right on. Good work, dude.
I did listen to him on Rogan a number of years back where he went to Argentina essentially to follow
Nazis.
Yeah, for a TV show.
Yeah. Did you
I
watch
found
the
that
TV show?
fascinating. No, I only listened to the Rogan.
So there's a real cool book on it, and I watched. I did watch. I don't think it was Tim Kennedy's show because there's been multiple shows about it. But there's some really interesting, and there's I can't remember the name of the book. I have it in my house. But there's a really interesting book that chronicles this whole deal. And I mean, they have historical, accounts of U-boats popping up outside Argentina. They have pictures of an Adolf Hitler looking individual living in this. I mean, there's some really cool stuff that like paints the picture that like, they finally did a DNA test on the skull or the bones or the remains that they thought was Hitler in the bunker, and it was a woman. So like none of the
Perhaps Eva Braun?
maybe. I mean, they didn't find him. So there was, they've.
Sneaky bastard.
I mean,
That's what they say about him.
to say that Hitler died in that bunker, I am more of a believer.
He's dead now.
Yeah, no, he's definitely dead now.
I know that. Well, maybe.
Well, I mean, so what's wild is, and Tim Kennedy talked about that. He's like, they were parts, and they went into Argentina. There was like a Mount Deal. They walked in, and they still speak German.
Yeah.
And there's it's always interesting to walk into a place and actually see Nazi shit on the wall, because when we were in the remember we were in Munich in the beer hall. I can't remember it's the Hofstra we went into. That was actually the site of Hitler's first speech, was in that beer hall that we went into. And I don't know if you remember, we pointed out where they had something on the wall at some point that had been covered up. So, I mean, there's still, dude, how crazy was it? We went
Germany,
to the parade grounds.
Have you had the opportunity to go to Germany?
I have not been to
Dude,
Germany. I'm super into it. I just haven't.
Oktoberfest, if you want to go, we will go with you.
Yes.
So much not a drinker anymore. That's the biggest problem.
But it's one day in your life, we can do it.
You're right.
Lederhosen, the whole outfits, we fucking go.
Yeah. Lederhosen onesies.
I mean, dude, my only regret is that we did.
I got a lot of regrets.
My biggest regret was not fucking showing up in a traditional outfit. We showed up and we were dressed like this, and everybody was wearing fucking lederhosen and traditional. I'm like,
Look at
God
these dicks.
damn it, we should have.
We look like dicks.
We should have got the fucking outfits. Even Schwarzenegger was there in an outfit.
Yeah.
At the same time?
Yeah,
Why?
he goes every year.
Oh, good for him.
Yeah, Schwarzenegger shows up. He was with his kids. People were all buzzing about it, and we were like, "Fuck!" We saw they pointed over, and I assumed that was him, and he was fucking wearing lederhosen.
Didn't he get canceled last year?
For what?
Because he hates freedom, is what I understood from everyone's outrage who didn't see the whole thing. He said.
Was.
I missed it.
So here's the thing, man. I understand the need for vaccine, for the COVID deal. People were so scared of this that they needed something that allowed them to enter back into society. And if the vaccine and the shot is allowed now, whether or not it does anything or if it was just placebo, it gave people, some people, now it's not necessarily the people that I want to associate with, but it allowed people, because there were people, I mean, up until this day, I bet you there's still motherfuckers hiding in their houses scared of COVID.
Yeah, for sure there is.
Right. Like Kate has a friend whose husband hasn't left their house in 2 fucking years.
I bet he's stoked. He's like, this is the best thing that's ever happened.
Right? He's like, I'm never leaving again. Right? But there's people that feel that
Doesn't
like
believe it.
Right. No,
he's just like, I just want to fucking
can't go outside, sweetheart.
But think about it. Like the vaccine gave people the ability to like maybe relive their lives. Now for people like us, I don't give a fuck. Like if something hits me and like I know this sounds crazy. Like if I were to contract it and it takes me down, then I probably shouldn't be here and fucking think I would get life insurance.
We had a chance to get rid of all the boomers and fix climate change at the same time. That's why the boomers are so concerned with this. They're the target. Everyone get fucking vaccinated. You have to help us. They're currently on their death throes for the people running the boat.
Well, do you also find it weird that we have things like the metaverse, we have cryptocurrencies, we have all of this fucking technology happening in real time, and we still somehow are electing old fucking barnacle dinosaurs that have no fucking concept? Do you honestly believe, well, first of all, Joe Biden doesn't even know he's Joe Biden. He fucking probably thinks he's, I don't know what the fuck he gives himself.
It's been a minute since I've believed that that hole's actually we get to pick.
Well, first of all, but like even the fact that like even if we don't pick, and this is who they prop up and say that they've given us the illusion of being picked, why the fuck are we electing these old fucking barnacles? Biden is fucking like he might as well have gotten the tablets from Moses. I mean, he's 100 years old.
Looks rough.
And, he looks awful. He's so whacked on Adderall too. His fucking his pupils are like pinholes. And have you ever seen anybody take like 100 milligrams of Adderall? That's what they look like.
He looks like Fire Marshal Bill.
He's crazy. He's batshit crazy. He doesn't know where he is. He shits himself constantly. That's why the Secret Service runs him off.
Oh, no. It's not ideal, right?
But I mean, why is it that that's the fucking leader of the United States? Like, as batshit crazy as Elon Musk is, he's a fucking better person.
I'm so into Uncle Elon.
However, was not born in the United States.
That's his hang up, huh? Mm-hmm. Did you see his thing about why he shouldn't pay taxes?
No.
Because he's just going to invest the money and fucking grow the...
And he's like, so why I don't feel like I should pay corporate taxes or whatever. And I may butcher this a bit, but he essentially says like, I have proven to be an individual who's very good at acquiring capital. That's not hard to argue with. And he said, so I use it. It's not my income. I'm not building mansions. I'm not trying to go on private jets. Look at what I'm doing with electric cars and trying to do better
innovation,
space travel. Right. And he's like, so why would you punish me who's good at getting capital to build these projects and I'll do them privately instead of it getting eaten up by all these other government entities. And you want me to give some of my money to another company, which is essentially the U.S. government, who's not great at using the capital they acquire for progress.
No, they're terrible.
So why are you punishing those of us who are innovating? And I'm like, fuck, man, I got your back.
Well, I mean, think about this, right? We still pay taxes. We still pay taxes as a corporation that the majority of the population doesn't have faith in. Right. I mean, I'm watching this deal the other day, and they got the FBI up there, and all of a sudden they're pointing to what are allegedly FBI agents in there working to incite fucking January 6th riots. I mean, like I'm watching this whole thing, and I'm like,
dude, that documentary on HBO is fascinating.
But like, here's the thing: like, you saw the deal where in Michigan they were going to go like kidnap, like the governor and the whole deal. Like the 14 people that were involved in them. 10 of them were FBI agents that were orchestrating it. And then they showed up and they arrested the 4 fucking morons. And they were like, what do you mean? These are the guys that planned it. It was the FBI.
It's not entrapment. It's different.
Dude, but like, I mean, like, it's pretty interesting the fact that like, they're like, well, what about this guy? You know, and it was like the Epps dude. And they're like, well, he was on the wanted list. He's not. Is he an informant? I mean, like the fact that these people, now mind you, Mark Rubio had the best comment I've heard. Nobody is thinking that a dude in a fucking Viking helmet and a Speedo is overthrowing the government. Stop with this fucking narrative. And it's
a very valid point.
Dude, you have the Dems over there talking about, they were trying to overthrow. I watched it. It was like, this QAnon shaman, are you fucking out of your mind? These people are alone. These dudes are mouth breathers. Well, so the whole QAnon thing was basically coined in these Russian bot farms and pushed out through these right-wing, Christian fucking Facebook groups. That was a complete fucking rope-a-dope.
Well, it all started on 5chan. right? Like, so there's Reddit, and then there was 4chan, and then there's 8chan. And the beauty of 8chan is that it's a completely anonymous internet space. So like, you don't have a username. You can just comment. So the worst shit in the world exists on 8chan as 100% user generated.
So like
content.
your chat roulette?
More like the Christchurch mass shooting.
Oh, yeah.
That guy live streamed it all to 8chan to a group of people cheering him on.
Wow.
So that's what we're dealing with on 8chan,
Yeah.
is because there's no repercussions for anything. They can't find you from what you post. And so that's where the QAnon thing started. And from what I've seen, documentary or two seems the guy who runs 8chan was the translator for Q. Like, he's the one sharing Q's information. And as that story played out, it seemed in the documentary that he stumbles one point, and it sure seems like he talks about it first person, like I'm sharing like these thoughts I have. And then they have like a pause, and then they both just kind of laugh and then go back into it.
So the only issue with the QAnon thing, right?
Only?
Well, the biggest piece is they got Epstein, right? The Galil chick, his girlfriend, like
Ghislaine?
Ghislaine. I'm fucking it up with Jaleel.
Good.
Ghislaine. So she goes through that whole thing. I mean, they live streamed the Kyle Rittenhouse thing. That shit, nothing.
So apparently that was something I felt that way about too. But most places, especially in other countries, don't allow video in courtroom. And so if that's already a precedent, I can't get fucking weird on that.
No, but I mean, they had like one sketcher in there. All that document was sealed.
Fucking crazy.
And now all of a sudden you see like fucking President or Prince Andrew got stripped of all of his titles because now he's going to be indicted on this deal. I mean, like,
did you see the CEOs that fucking left fucking head seats?
Yeah. Oh yeah, dude. I mean,
the Epstein thing's ugly.
The Epstein thing. You can like. Here's the deal.
He can bring it up. There's a ton of CEOs
at the end of the day. Like, let's call it for what it is. There's a lot of perverted fucking motherfuckers, and what we found is that once you start attaining a certain level of wealth, and I knew this because I used to roll with these billionaires who were fucking complete scumbags. But what happened was the more money you get, the less shit excites you. So the shit has to be fucking
to get weirder.
It has to get weird. It fucking has to.
It has to be more elite than only you can have it.
Yeah, because it's like, hey, you know what? Like that car, that would be cool, but you know what? Like I only want it if you set it on fire type of shit.
Wolf on Wall Street.
100%.
Yeah.
Right? Like so they're
it's chasing dopamine.
Yeah, so
anything else.
so it's like everything has to be fucking more. It has to be more. And so what happened was that Epstein dude, sexual predator, he had that chick as the fucking groomer, and he legitimately had an island. They were bringing in chicks, and they were getting these fucking famous people that wanted to get their rush, and he was fulfilling their fantasies and using it's J. Edgar Hoover all over again. J. Edgar Hoover probably ran this fucking country because he had dirt on everybody. You don't think Epstein had dirt on anybody to make it fucking happen?
They've also now, some of the hard drives they got out of his apartment somehow aren't findable.
Dude.
No shit.
So, here's a problem, right? Like, what's wild is, and I like this is the part that completely blows my fucking mind. We fund all of this through our tax dollars.
I know.
So what's wild is, as like, and the problem is, if you don't pay your tax dollars, the fucking bouncer of life, the IRS, shows up and ass fucks you.
Yep.
And you're like, hey, whoa. Government officials are going out and fucking having
they're banging kids
and using government dollars to do it. And now if I don't fucking support it, the fucking IRS is going to go over here and fucking ass rape me.
Or the fact that my tax dollars paid for the grants that make vaccines and then they're allowed to sell it back to me at a profit. Fuck's going on here?
Yeah.
Like,
dude, so what's wild is they had to prove that there was nothing on the books that could fight COVID to get the emergency exemptions for the vaccines. So that was why they shit on the hydroxychloroquine, all the ivermectin. Now all of a sudden the Project Veritas releases. They know, like, the drug companies right now are trying to reverse engineer ivermectin to create fucking treatments for it. But they, these things were proven to work. Yep. Project Veritas has U.S. governments. They just released on Twitter. I saw on Weinstein's deal. They were like, these are effective things. I mean, the hydroxychloroquine worked in India. Yep. So much so that they just stopped the study because it wasn't ethical to continue it because it was so powerful, the combination. And then the U.S. government's like, the news is like, well, they stopped the study because it was a failure. It wasn't a failure. It was because it was so fucking possible in terms of execution.
Now, is there anywhere out there that I have to believe there's some places that did fucking nothing for COVID prevention. Nothing, right? Did we lose 30%?
No.
Oh, what's the big percentage of people we lost from an area that didn't do dick?
Well, think about this, right? Like, let's say you live in like the southern Sudan or some remote fucking place where like Ebola kills people.
Sure.
And like, dude, people still have twisted bones.
You can
and
probably fight off COVID.
Yeah, with polio.
Yeah.
I mean, like, there's still parts of this country that don't have polio vaccines and like people have twisted bones. Like, I think COVID, we're fine. Like, I think, and I've always said this from day one, if anything, COVID just showed us exactly how vulnerable and weak we were in terms of a population of unhealthy individuals. I mean, if you look, it's morbidity
Yep.
factors, obesity, all these key factors, until somebody's like, hey, you know what? If you're 150 pounds overweight and you're physically unhealthy and you get COVID, there's a good chance you're going to die.
That's really tough to go against the body positivity thing, though, that claims any size is healthy.
Where do we get into that fucking deal? Like, I was watching something today on that where
predated COVID.
no, I did watch that.
Yep.
The word fitness now is a trigger for a lot of people because it reminds them of how unhealthy they are, and that makes them feel bad.
That should be the motivation to fix it. I'm sorry. Shaming has led me into lots of positive areas in my life. I don't know if anyone's familiar with that.
So what's interesting, and this is my favorite part, is as I sit here with Matt, I can mentally remember what you looked like
Yeah,
the
of
first
course.
time we met.
Yeah, like memory foam.
And dude,
I was fucking built to do a job.
yeah, no, I know, but
I don't have the job to do anymore. It
No.
seems real stupid to stay fat. Because otherwise, then I can't say, I was big for a reason. Then I'm just fat.
dude, but like you were a big fucking dude.
Yeah.
And like I remember when you were like, I think I'm going to get in shape. There's no reason to be this unhealthy. And you know what? Like, if it's a reason, not to say you were unhealthy, but like, why the fuck do you want to sling that extra mass around?
It's built to do a job for a certain amount of time. I'm aware that job's going to come to an end at some point, and then I no longer.
What was your heaviest?
My heaviest was doing strongman. I got 318. I remember that being the heaviest on the scale. I didn't stay there very long.
What came first, Highland or Strongman?
Strongman.
326 was my heaviest, but I'm also 6 inches taller than you.
Yeah. I hit my brother up asking him the other, because Andy's like 275 right now.
Yeah, but he's like 6'4", isn't he?
6'4", 6'5", yeah. And so I hit him up, and I was like, what's the biggest you ever were? And he's like, I'm willing to bet. He's like, I saw 340 on a scale before a strongman show, and I don't know what it was the 48 hours before the event when I was eating as much as humanly possible to be heavy for the show. And yeah, I'm glad. Dude, I think, this machine's incredible, what it'll adapt to and change and all. And like, for me, now that I've been able to drop 60 pounds and keep it off and manipulate it, I feel like I've accessed the controls to my machine differently. I'm like, we can change weight.
What are you doing different?
It's super consistent on food. That's the biggest thing.
You mean in terms of like under eating calories?
Probably. I bet I stay more in a deficit. I work with a meal prep company, and I basically just eat that. And I figured out if I do that every day and have the same amount of food, it goes consistently the right direction. I'd gotten down to like 240-ish, 250, and stayed there a long time. I've gotten leaner now to like 228, 230 since I got back from Dubai. And really, it was an interest. Like, I'm interested in being more disciplined was the approach. And I think that with as many factors in the planet as there are now of things that are out of my control, this one is 100% in my wheelhouse of what I choose to put in my mouth and what effort I choose to take in the gym. And I just kept thinking about it. And I was like, yeah, if you're not willing to do the stuff that I'm in 100% control of, I'll never be able to fucking harness magic if it comes across and I get a chance at it. And so, like, fucking be ready. Like, if you can't do the work that helps you, that doesn't involve anyone else, you're not fucking useful whenever that time comes.
Sure.
And so that's how I looked at it. I was like, do you believe this is important to be leaner, do any of these type of things? And I do. For right now in my career and what it is, I do. And so if I believe that, get to fucking work. Or shut the fuck up and don't ever mention it again and stop ever pretending that you give a shit. These are your only two options. And I decided to be less gross.
Nice.
I mean, I see fucking Hapthor lose that amount of weight. I see Steffi and like them to leave being the best in the world at a thing and go suck at another sport very publicly to start, fucking cool.
Yeah.
Super fucking cool.
It's like a humbled nature. Like the problem that a lot of people, like, we've talked about it at fucking nauseum, is that so many people are not okay with being beginners. I mean, it's why people don't lift weights, why people don't train, why they don't do this stuff. It's because they're so nervous of the first day. And I'm like, dude, strive to suck at things.
Yeah, dude.
Like, show up and be like, I know nothing. Let's fucking figure
You're only
this shit
allowed
out.
to be a kook for so long in any realm. Like, show up and be
Have
a
y'all
kook.
heard of sigmoid's curve?
No.
Charles, this is very cool. So pull that up and show that to him. I was going to
Yeah, Jamie, pull that up.
Essentially, it's in line with the conversation we're talking.
Sigmoid's curve.
Sigmoids, what'd I say?
Siegfried's.
Serums.
Serums.
Siemens curve.
Yeah.
Semen.
Siemens curved in my
Can you
mouth.
put, Charles,
Sailors.
I need semen curving on the big board, please.
This is like that movie where they bend bullets, except you do it
Yeah,
loads.
wanted.
Except, yeah. So we see it.
So wait, we're going to do Quaaludes?
So Charles, zoom in on that. So essentially, curve one, we can use John as an example, or you, Matt. It's our first athletic career as we're going up, and then that second red curve is the new skill that you take on. So as you're reaching your peak, you take on something that you suck at, and there's that dip in skill level. And by the time your natural abilities or time within that job position starts to tail down, now you're getting better and better and
At another
progressing
thing.
in your new skill. So Matt, your career, as I've known you, is representative of this as well, taking on new adventures and skills and then streaming up on what's next, hockey stick,
Well, but like,
curve up.
you and I have talked about it from jump, right? That like, football's a thing you did. It's not who you are. It's a cool chapter.
It was a lot
But
of
not,
fun.
of course it is. It's
It
a
was so
fucking
much fun.
great
Like,
chapter that you got to live.
I like people ask me and they were like, like it was so much fun to like fucking strap it up, put on your game unis, sprint out there at 100 miles an hour and whoop some dude's ass, or at least try to whoop some dude's ass for 3 hours, and then get on a bus and go home and then fucking watch film and get graded and then fucking do it all over again.
So you go first round draft?
No, I was second pick in the fourth round.
Okay. That day, draft day, like where did you have predictions of where?
So I was supposed to go second. I had teams call, say, hey, we're taking you with our second round pick, latest third. So I had multiple teams call and tell me that. I didn't go on the first day.
How's that day?
That was fucking awful because like my brothers were there, my whole family was there. We were like hanging out, and like the problem is like they like call the house, and you're sitting there, and like my brothers and I, it was like so my brother's wife, my mom and dad were just kind of like hanging out watching it. You don't really want to watch it, so my brother went and bought like a PlayStation or Xbox or something. So we were playing in the other room, and then like people started calling, like, did you get drafted? And we're like, no. And then all of a sudden, I got teams calling, hey, we're taking you with our next pick. And I'm like, okay, is it coming up? And then they draft some other fucking asshole. And you're like, motherfucker. So needless to say, and we were supposed to go out to dinner that night. Like,
Did not.
No. I was like, I'm good. I'm just going to bed.
So I remember being there for Andy's draft day.
And then, then in New York, they start at 9, which is 6 a.m. West Coast time. So at like 6:04, the phone rings. And I'm laying there in bed and I'm like, fuck this. And my brother's wife gets up and she's like, goes and answers the phone. It's like, hello? And I'm like, hey, this is the Philadelphia Eagles. We're calling for John Welbourn. And she's like, get up. And I get on the phone and they're like, oh, he's drafted you with their pick. And my brother's turning on the TV trying to figure out who the fuck drafted me because we weren't up.
Yeah.
I was like, fuck these people.
Fuck these people.
Fucking assholes.
Yeah, Andy was predicted to go 4th or 5th and then went free agent.
Oh, fuck.
I didn't get drafted. So it was like 2 full days of being in a room like with his agent and like a couple other guys. And like, I'm too young to grasp how weird that situation is.
Yeah, it's well, I mean, like there's a lot of people in the NFL that have this storybook deal. I went in the first round, played 17 years, and this whole deal, like the Tony Gonzalez story. There's other people where you're like, they said I was going the second pick, or second round, I went in the 4th, and then I showed up, and then all of a sudden I'm the fucking starter as a rookie, and they're like, we drafted you to start. I'm like, in the 4th round? What about those first round guys? Yeah, no, fuck you, get out there.
They're expensive.
Yeah,
You're an offensive lineman. Get
You're
over there.
fucking cheap. Like there was just a lot with that, but at the end of the day, man, the way I looked at it is, and I'm sure a lot like you, it doesn't matter. Like, I don't care if I'm on the guest list. Or
Yeah,
the
I just
plus
need
one.
in the game.
Just fucking get me on
That's
the
it.
fucking. Just get me into the party. Believe me, I went to the Playboy
Do
Mansion.
fine once I'm here.
I went to the Playboy Mansion a few times. Never with my name on the guest list. Always as the +1, and I still had a great fucking time.
What years is that happening?
What, the Playboy Mansion?
Yeah.
Like when Hef was alive.
Man, because
This would have been like 03, 04, 05, 06, somewhere in there.
did you see Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
Uh-huh.
That era of Playboy Mansion
Mm-hmm.
has to be fucking incredible. With mamas and the papas and fucking because there's no social media. There's
Yeah,
no.
you
This
show
is a
up,
place.
fucking
Those people were allowed to be humans
Yeah, like
and never apologize for
I
being.
remember we walked out and there were like numerous people banging in the grotto. So I mean, this is like pre-social media, and we went and it was fucking great. I mean, the funny part was like they like made it real clear, like this is Hef's harem. Don't fucking. And they were all real weird about because a couple of NFL players had gone in there and fucking snatched chicks out of his harem.
Weird.
Yeah, and so they were real clear. And I played it cool and ended up getting invited to the 50th anniversary of Playboy at the Palms Hotel. Oh. So I remember I was in a VIP room, and it was me, and I'm talking to Jenny McCarthy and Pam Anderson.
Weird day.
Yeah, it was
Weird day. In the early 2000s, this is great.
Yeah, they were smoke shows then.
Yeah.
New story, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
I'm all ears.
How cool are you at this time playing it?
Well, so this was
What are
during.
you wearing?
I was probably wearing jeans and fucking t-shirt, which is
Nice.
and Vans.
Yep. The same thing
which-
we're currently
the
got
same
going
thing.
on. This is great.
Yeah, like my outfit necessarily changed. I think I might have had like some like Starling gear jewelry on that I usually wear when I go out. But the way it went down was we ended up playing it cool, Playboy Mansion, the whole deal. I get an invite to the 50th anniversary of Playboy in the Palms, and it just so happens it's our bye week.
Whoa.
Right.
Sick.
So John Ritchie, who was our fullback, and his wife, Marielle, and my girlfriend, who was named Erin. So Marielle and Erin ran track at Cal together, and then John played at Stanford. So then they got married, and then Erin came out, and I remembered her from college, so we ended up dating. And so the four of us fly out to Vegas, and my brother, and I think my brother's wife end up flying out, and we're staying at the Palms, and we go to this 50th anniversary of Playboy. So we show up, it's like fucking red carpet, the whole 9 yards. And then we end up like in this VIP thing, like upstairs, like there's the fucking club and we're having a great time. So we go up in this VIP, and I remember whoever, like one of like the handler dudes is like, hey, I'd like to introduce you to some people. So I'm like, hey, I'll be right back. I go over, I'm in a room, and like, it's like Jenny McCarthy when she was married to that kind of scumbaggy dude.
That's fair.
Yeah, I don't remember who his name
Which
was.
one?
Like the dude, like she's married like a Marky Mark's brother, I think now. She's a Wahlberg.
Is she?
Yeah. But like she was married to this kind of radish dude, and ended up talking with him. And then Pamela Anderson, I think, is from Vancouver. She's from Victoria, where my mom's from. So
Lovely girl, apparently.
yeah,
If
lovely.
she's from Canada, I'm sure she's lovely.
Yeah, just like all Canadians. But I end up sitting there, and the guy like introduces me, and I'm like sitting there, and I got nothing to say to them. I'm like,
Does he introduce like first and last name, or do you walk over to people that are that famous and you're like, here they are? Like, they're like, I don't need to be like, this is Michael Jackson.
The fucking handler walked over and introduced him like, oh, we have some NFL players that flew in on their bye week. This is kind
got
of one Philadelphia Eagles. And they were like, oh, great. And like, they all probably banged 100 football players. I was like, okay. Yeah.
Good for them.
Yeah. I was like, all right. And then
That's top quality dong.
it was cool to just be there and rap with them. And I was like, hey, it's a pleasure. Thank you so much. Maybe we see each other again. I got to go.
Yeah.
And then when I went back, my girlfriend's like, who'd you meet? I'm like, I met Pam Anderson and Jenny McCarthy. And she's like, that's fucking awesome. Did you get a picture? I'm like, no. And the problem is because the cell phones weren't nearly as dope as this. I had a fucking BlackBerry,
Oh, God.
which didn't take photos.
Just looks like it's drawn in crayon.
Yeah, dude, like I had like
This cool blurry photo of me and
like,
these babes.
Yeah, like, do you remember what the fucking BlackBerry fucking phone,
of
like
course.
pictures look like? They were fucking awful. They were like,
Terrible.
they were like 6 pixels. And so you didn't even
6 megapixel camera here.
So like there's so many moments where I'm like, God damn it, I wish I had an iPhone in this fucking moment. But it was cool.
But also not.
Yeah.
I would imagine there's some stories that I'm glad don't have evidence. I have a handful.
nah,
for
I
sure.
mean there's probably a lot. But
I'm really glad that none
was-
of that existed when I bounced in strip clubs.
dude, that 50th anniversary of Playboy was a hell of a fucking adventure. We got to go play shoot hoops in the Maloof brothers' private place. Because at the time, the way I met the Maloofs was through Shockey. And they used to.
Who are the Maloofs?
You don't know Maloof brothers?
Yeah, George Maloof. Dude, there was a point in my life where he used to text me and we were cool. And we would go in and he'd be like, come in, have a great time. Everything's taken care of. We go to Ghost Bar. So the Maloof brothers used to send their private jet for Shockey and fucking fly him all over. And we'd go out there and hang out with them. And it was cool to be a plus one.
This is the thing I'm bad at podcasting. And I'm glad it's one of those is like you mentioning the Maloof brothers. I'll never slow you down because I know what they are. And then I realize no one fucking does.
Do they still own the Palms?
I know that they owned a bunch of shit because they were involved in like skateboarding and owned part of the X Games. And
yeah,
were
they've
involved
probably
in a lot
like
of
maybe
stuff.
got out of the Palms, but they were the ones
The
that
steakhouse?
started the Palms Hotel.
Oh.
And dude, when the Palms Hotel opened, holy shit. That was the most fucking insane place in Vegas.
Off the strip.
Yeah, off the strip. They had the fucking they had a steakhouse. So dude, one of my favorites was Bob Sapp. I don't know if you know Bob Sapp.
Yeah, I'm aware.
One of my favorite people, one best, in my wedding, flies in from Tokyo. So Bob calls me and he's in that movie Elektra. Remember
Jennifer Gardner.
So Bob calls me. He's like, hey, they're doing the premiere for Elektra in Vegas at the Palms. You should come. And like, so I was like, all right. So my brother and I fly out there. We go to fucking Vegas. We roll in. There's like the steakhouse. They have all the people. Like Bob sees us. He like stands up and is like, come over, and like moves these people aside. My brother and I are sitting down and we're having like fucking great time at this table. And all of a sudden over my right shoulder, I see this chick wearing like a pink dress, like a bubblegum pink dress. And she like turns and her ass is so flat it's almost concave like this.
No.
And
just
like
ass back for days.
She looked like God spanked her with a fucking frying pan.
Just at some point, her low back splits into two and turns into knees.
And like I look, and my brother was like, we look at that chick and we're like, that's the flattest ass we've ever seen. And it turns and it's Paris Hilton.
That's fair though. That's
and
not
I was like,
incorrect.
it was literally the flattest ass. And the hilarious part is like if you Google Paris Hilton pink dress, she used to rock that motherfucker everywhere, and it was the least flattering thing I've ever seen. Like the thing I love about today's culture is like no longer are big bombs considered like the fucking access. Like they used to be the gold card open any rope. Maybe they still are, but like the great ass, like the thing, like and I've always said like Brett Contrast.
Contreras.
He's doing God's work by building a bunch of fucking amazing asses. I mean, yep, there she is. That's the booty.
Yeah, there's not a lot of it there.
No, it's pretty sad.
She has a very, very high quality early 2000s butt. That is what we wanted.
But no, not me.
Yeah, it's we.
But
again,
as a football
royal
player, and my girlfriend at the time was a All-American 800-meter sprinter.
Nice,
right? So I mean, phenomenal.
Yeah, I understand.
Like
my chick's a sprinter.
Yeah, right. So it was like we used to call that a rare disease called no ass at all.
Yeah, I ain't worried about those mud flaps hanging back there. That ain't nothing to grab. Ain't no cushion. It's just pelvic bones underneath there.
But I feel like in today's, like in this day in the environment, like the big luscious ass is like, that's the fucking gold. That's the trump card.
We're there now.
No, I know.
Yeah. It's a very interesting shape that doesn't exist in nature that we've locked.
You think it's all
fake,
surgery?
The fake ass.
I think there's a lot of it.
Yeah.
Oh, I see girls on social media all the time where I'm like, that's either a filter or something's not real because that doesn't look. I mean, like there's a lot of onion booty.
Yeah, I don't know.
And I'm not mad about it.
Sure, if I'm just looking at it in pictures, great. I don't care how much you've doctored it up.
Like I imagine there's apps and there's all this technology that these chicks have, like we don't even have access to.
For sure, but yeah, I mean, also surgery. I mean, if you see big ass and no legs, it doesn't work.
Nah, you know what? The thigh meat has to match the butt meat.
It's true.
And if it doesn't match, it doesn't work.
Yeah. I mean,
if the glove don't fit, you got to acquit.
And look, it doesn't work for me. It's not my cup of tea. I like fit. I like athletic. I like strong. I like active people.
Yeah, I like muscles.
Yeah, I like people that don't look fragile. I'm not into fragility.
No.
Fuck.
In anything.
No, not in anything. Not in anything, right? Like everything I learned from strength training was that the way this thing gets better is I have to constantly stress it so that it adapts. I'm lucky to grow up in a time that I get to choose all the things I want to adapt to. And so that's how it works for a long time of strength training, right? Like You want to get stronger? Cool. Bench squat, deadlift, overhead press, moderately heavy, don't get hurt for a decade. It'll work out. There's some better ways to do it. There's worse ways to do it. But that one, it still needs time. Whereas, why wouldn't I treat my head the same way, right? Like pushing myself to be uncomfortable, trying new things or learning new stuff or getting on stage to speak or going into podcast or doing any of these things. It's fucking reps. Everything you ever want to be good at is just reps. Mm-hmm. And so get used to sucking at it. Yeah. Because that's how it goes.
Well, but there's also a feeling too that everybody's going to judge you for sucking. I have never once, unless I had to pay money to go hear somebody speak and they got up there and bombed, I'd be like, oh, they sucked. But if I'm at an event and somebody gets up there and I can tell they're nervous and they haven't done this a lot, like I get excited for them.
Yeah. Because that means their shit's so good.
Or the fact
that they have to get it out and they're not ready to do this.
I've heard people speak where they're nervous and the information fumbles or whatever. And I'm like, fuck, man. Like I almost want to clap for them and be like, you're doing good. Just keep fucking going.
Like, what do you think Cal Dietz' early seminars look like?
Well, they're like the same thing they look like now. They're fucking
easy
just brain vomits. And
I fucking love Cal. I love what a fucking lunatic that guy is.
The best.
I only want to hang out with lunatics. I think that's what I've come to the realization of. Is like, I just want to deal with people that don't operate or that have something in their life that they are completely fucking unreasonable about. That this isn't up for debate. I'm going to do this weird shit because I'm compulsed to do it. And like Cal shit.
It's heady, man. I mean, I've always said from day one, dude, like he fucking solved problems that we were literally we observed, I saw, I've talked about, and like all of a sudden, like, it's kind of like, man, I wish we had telepathy. And you're like, oh, let's talk about that. And then Elon Musk is like, here's my implant.
Right.
Like that was fucking Cal Dietz. Like all of a sudden we're hearing him talking and it was like this problem of like foot strength and this and everything. And he's like, fuck all that. Let's hack it and get right into this. And I was like, God damn it. This is so heady. It's so smart. And the way he uses it is so unique in their environment in terms of athletes that it's not necessarily like you can't one for one it into like some dude in his fucking garage in, Quincy, fucking Illinois. No. But like there's pieces of the theme and to be able to look at and break it down. And that's where we looked at it. And I was like, yo, man, you solved some problems that we have identified. And I couldn't necessarily figure out how to like take to the consumer. And now we fucking do because you solve these problems.
One of the ones, he was coming through St. Louis. His kid was hockey or something like that. So he popped into the podcast and we hung out and was talking about the infinity drill that he does for warm-ups. I started instituting that and like fascinating fucking thing. I feel sharper. I feel fucking more on point. I feel more balanced. I'm able to precept better.
Did he show you the hawk?
I don't know what the hawk is.
Like they were basically doing like they basically took a hawk and they were holding it and they were doing the infinity stuff.
Yes.
And the thing's head doesn't move.
Right.
And the body moves. And like, as we were going through that, he sent me that shit. And especially some other stuff too, that we had found organically that he explained why we found organically. One of them was like the post-activation potentiation, the PAP stuff we use. Like something heavy, something dynamic, and like the quality of the movement is better opposed from sitting down and just doing 5 sets of 5 and resting in between. Being able to go from like a barbell lift, for example, like a bilateral hip hinge with like a heavy squat to like something dynamic or even like some opposing movement, whether it be a reverse hyper and everything, and being able to move through those movements. And he uses French contrast with 3 versus PAP, which was 2. And so all these things. And what was interesting was that I observed that the quality of the movement was better when we didn't just continue to do the same pattern over and over again. And so then all of a sudden, as I'm talking with him, he like starts explaining why. And then and like, it was like one of those things where I was like, dude, we observed this. And the reason we've done this training and the reason that we've done so much of this. And then he actually gave me a paradigm to work from. And it was like one of those things where it was like, God damn it.
So why do we do that?
The idea is that, we get like a down regulation of like neuromuscular pathways end up creating supposedly, like this. And then that we can, basically rewire. I mean, fucking Cal Dietz speak. But basically it's like a neurological response that like, if we do the same thing over and over again under load, you start getting a down regulation of like the movement quality. But if you can like go into opposing movements where if this is a hinge, we'll go into this, change, different planes of motion up and down, supine, prone, and then like, cross patterning. All of a sudden now he's like, try this, see if the quality improves. And we saw it fucking endlessly.
Really?
Yeah, and how that is counterculture is what the research says. Say we do a hinge, then they want your second movement to be a hinge as well. But that's all they have researched. So then there's a lot of thinking within the traditional strength and conditioning field. Oh, the research says this.
So we do, like, if it's like a bilateral or a bilateral hinge, then we'll go to like a unilateral X or Y, or
which is a lunge
or even like
a single leg.
If one's upright, then either the other one is supine or prone.
Okay.
And then unilateral versus so we use all these different fucking like basically like this whole combination of movements
with the garage gym individual in mind. I think that's key.
So what we have to do is that like, Cal gets into a situation like, hey, like we're going to do fucking 800-pound eccentric single leg squats, which
3 spotters.
Yeah, with 3 spotters,
Right.
Weight releasers, the whole deal. Like I got some dude in the fucking garage gym who's in there. So like there's and even Cal said, he's like, man, because he sent me like, hey, I want you to put some programming together based on these like parameters. So I designed my own based on his that we could do with less spotters and kind of in a different environment, send it back to him. And he's like, man, I would have never have thought to like do it in this way. And he's like, but that's not my market. This is the market. I mean, you guys got thousands of people following these programs, and a lot of them are these, solo individuals in a garage gym setting that are trying to, work around with a limited deal that don't have access. And he's like, this is fucking intelligent. And I'd hit him up like, hey, did you ever try this? Did you ever try this? Oh yeah, we tried this. If somebody,
what a cool shortcut to a lot of, or just another person's
but
information.
it's cool to have it, and and like it's really like, especially we've used it to the point where we had you're gonna love this story. So we had a dude hit us up the other day who did a consult, who 28-year-old kid, Google employee, real high level of Googliness.
Good to know.
And he decides like he's trying to get into grad school under the guise like, hey, I'm gonna go to grad school, but there's like this element of like, I might be able to go play football because I still have eligibility. So he doesn't get into grad school. Is more upset about not getting into grad school because he doesn't get a chance
We have to
play
say
football.
like grad school MIT.
Yeah.
To play Division III football.
Yeah, MIT, and there was another school. Like the kid's legitimately smart, like a high performer. He's going to like he applied to MIT to go to business school.
I didn't.
Yeah,
at any point.
Yeah, fuck all that.
Yeah, Louisiana.
I'm from La Tech. So he's more bummed about the football thing. So decides I got to scratch this itch. Somehow, gets down, and I didn't get the story piece of like he ends up with talking to these guys that run a professional league in Mexico for football, American football.
Okay.
And so he's like, hey, I want to come play. They're like, fuck off. You've never played football before. He was like a pitcher in high school.
Is it NFL, like NFL?
There are ex-NFL players.
There's ex-NFL players
Yeah,
that
but
play
how
down
it's
there.
spelled? NFL?
Nah, it's like Mexican football league.
At
Like
the end of it?
Like
Muful. He pretty much, I think they slammed the door on him. And, what I fucking love about kids in this generation is they all know how to leverage technology and social media. Hits him back and it's like, hey, I want to publicize your league by making a documentary about this Rudy story, about this Google employee who's going to go down and play football, and I want to do this. And the fucking ownership's like, we're in.
Sounds great.
So the kid has been training, and he somehow organically, I think his roommate recommended us, starts following Fieldstrom and using speed kills, which are string. He ends up like dropping like half a second on his 40.
Yeah, and our bulking
puts
protocol.
on 20. Does some consults. Puts on 21 pounds of muscle in the last year, and then drops his deal and has been going out and throwing. And he goes to a tryout, so he hits us up and he's like, "Hey, here's the deal. I'm going to make this fucking documentary."
What position is he?
Wants to play quarterback.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
which is right. Never playing football, and he's going to end up in
I was
this.
like, deep snapper?
Yeah, I was like, punter? No,
Right.
he's gonna. And I my first question is like, are you throwing 7-on-7? Like, these dudes are fucking like gonna bring some hits. Like,
Yeah.
is Mexico football like NFL football where you can't even touch Tom Brady? And he's like, I don't think it's like that. I'm like, we're getting ready to
Pay
get some
attention.
fucking heat. So he pitches us on this, but he uses like Field Strong. He like takes half a second off of his 40, like best shape of his life, put on this muscle, and he's like, man, I'm so completely fucking blown away by the power and the strength and just like the efficacy of these fucking programs that I'm following online. He's like, I had to reach out to you guys. Like, there's got to be something we can do together. And so he's like kind of pitching this whole thing. And I'm like, you know what? When's the tryout? He's like, it's at the end of the month. I'm like, hit me up the day after. Let me know how it goes. And then we can talk about something.
We'll talk about it then.
Can I say my theory with this? Okay. My theory is this dude, Google, big tech.
Lizard.
No. He's 28
He's a
year old,
lizard person?
Damn it.
hates his fucking job, hates his life, is overpaying his rent. Like his rent's $8,000 a month for a no-nothing apartment.
Yeah.
He
Where?
connects
In Boston?
San Francisco.
Oh, okay.
Connects with this company, passion. He's a smart dude. Okay. Well, I know there's a tail end to my time with this company.
With physical bits as well.
I know. But I'm going to do what I can to just show these guys how committed I am to power athlete. And I'm going to ask for a job at the end of this tryout that I'm not going to make. That's my theory.
I'll tell
it's a
you,
long con.
I'll tell you this.
But is it a con?
If that's the case, like just
Welcome
the fact,
on.
Yeah, welcome on.
Nerd.
If you are that level of hustler, like
if you're that level of Google, I'd like to hire you.
Googliness.
I'm willing to bet you can help something we're doing.
I was
online.
like, you know what? Your level of Googliness is high, and we are looking for more Googliness.
yeah.
But like
We
Texas,
can
like,
share him.
yeah, this is the long haul. I'm like, Matt's like, I want to bang him too.
Right. Can he help me? Is he remote? Do I ever have to see him in person?
Does
Oh,
he like
great.
Slack?
Yeah.
He's got a sweet mullet and mustache.
Dude, he
good
was
for
rocking the
him.
fucking
Gardner Minshew.
Gardner Minshew. Dude, I fuck up that kid's name. I want to call him Carter Minshew.
That's I'm working toward mustache. I didn't shaved for the first time in 6 years, I guess. Like,
You know, you did, and I saw
did
it.
not care for it.
Well,
as soon as I did, I was like, I've made a terrible mistake.
You were. I saw you shave, and all I could think of is you're way more attractive with a beard.
Fuck, man. I looked at it and I looked just like my fucking dad. I'm like, man, I look really old really fast. I'm not sure why I made this decision. I was just a fucking thing I couldn't stop thinking about one morning. And I'm like, fuck you, beard. You got to go. It just felt like something I had too much of an identity to, of like having a beard. And I fucking hate it. Of just, that means it gets a vote.
I'm
Some
fucking,
people, it's all they got.
I'm fucking
though.
jealous. Charles's beard.
Yeah, that's a great one. Mine will never be great.
If I had fucking Charles's beard, I would fucking rock a beard. He grew that yesterday.
Do you just pick a spot on the neck and start shaving up?
Well,
Dude,
some people, it's all they got.
Dude,
just
you know
all
what's
I got.
crazy?
That's all I got.
If he didn't shave it, it would grow up to his eyes, and I'm so fucking jealous. If I could grow a beard under my eyes where it just went around my nose, I would totally have Wolfman face.
I'm waiting for my mustache to fill in more, and then I'll trim the beard back.
Charles,
Still mustache.
how old?
I don't mind a mustache.
I can go.
How old
I
was
go
your
mustache.
first shave?
9.
Had
6.
to be 11,
You're like 6th grade.
12.
6th grade. He's got fucking a full beard.
Sixth grade.
I had
sixth grade.
when I started. So I started growing a beard in 2016 at 33 or 4, and it just like I had like my fucking face covered in sugar ants for 6 weeks. He was like, "Why is that guy so dirty?"
And it's so uncomfortable. It's so
It looked
itchy.
like one of those fuzzy things that you try to put the beards on with magnetic fucking iron in the thing.
Team America World Police.
Oh, God, it's exactly what I look like. I was a little concerned when I was like, it'll come back better than that, surely. And I'm happy it has.
So what was it? Did you get some like? Did somebody DM you for your face routine?
No, it was just, fuck. Just got sponsored by Manscaped and it's time for it to go.
So there is a fact check. False claim that 28 CEOs have stepped down during Ghislaine Maxwell's trial. So I guess they came
Not
out with
true.
a fact check and said it was fake news. But there's some interesting observations, like at the time of the Epstein, when all that went down. At that time is when Bill Gates, like that report came out with Bill Gates and Epstein. Having
Bill
meetings.
Bill Gates' fucking wife
That's
divorced
when-
him because he's a fucking
That,
sicko.
but Melinda
Dude.
Gates, she hired a divorce attorney.
My favorite
When those reports came
line I've heard about Bill Gates in the last, I don't know, however long. Fuck it. My favorite line I've ever heard about Bill Gates was Rogan. I don't remember who he's talking to, and he's like, I'm pretty sure I could push a finger through him if I had to. He's like, look at him. Like,
No.
I'm willing to bet, like, if you tape these two fingers together, I could fucking give him the business. Like, I bet I could fucking get into his heart.
You know, I'm a Rogan fan, but I'm actually more of a fan of him now from the story that the guy's like, hey, we should go out with our families. And he's like, why the fuck would I do that? You fucking work for me. Get the fuck out of here.
Why
And
would
pick
I-
up your paycheck on the way out. What do you think,
Why-
we're friends?
Why would I do that?
He's like, I'm too over here sucking Cameron Haynes' dick. That guy just ran 100 miles.
That guy's a stud.
That guy's a beast. Like, fuck,
Interesting dude.
Dude, that guy's running 100 miles and at the end of the 100 miles, he's killing an elk.
He's an interesting dude.
Yeah.
I mean, look, Cam's a guy that seems to be doing things he's into.
Yeah.
Can't be mad about that.
No, not at all. Yeah, but when have you ever been mad about somebody who's doing what they fucking want to do?
Never.
Never.
Nor have I had any interest in getting out of the way of that.
Matt, I imagine you're familiar with the term Ikigai.
I'm not.
What, Charles? I have no idea how to spell
Jamie,
this,
pull up
guys.
Ikigai. It's a Japanese term.
Ikigai. It
I
starts
don't
with an I.
speak as much Japanese as you'd think.
Essentially, it's a four circle Venn diagram, meaning how you're finding your vocation, your job in life. Like what makes a difference in the world, what makes you happy. Like
I should have totally brought a joint for today. If I could sit around and shoot the shit, this would be great.
What, you didn't think we were going to sit around and just fucking get weird?
Well, it's my own mistake. It's my own mistake.
while Charles is taking 30 minutes, any exciting hate brand goods on the way that you're pumped about?
What we got? Really excited. Like, so women's line stuff.
Yeah,
Bonnie
I
started
saw
creating
Bonnie.
it.
Yeah. You had her kind of in a superhero
Well,
deal.
fuck do I know about women's clothes?
Nothing.
And so clearly over the last 8 years of doing this with the brand, it's not exactly been our best-selling shit. And so what?
Oddly, same for us at Power Ethic.
Yeah, weird. You have a large male demographic.
Yeah, we got a lot of dudes. Like we sold a lot of male shorts, but we surprisingly we sold a lot of sports bras and a lot of tights this year.
Right on.
So
Yeah, right
kinda
on,
mentioned-
right? Yeah, so having Bonnie kind of help get on the creative director side of that with the lady stuff would be really fun. I'm
Nice.
excited about that. And then our drop at the end of the month is the Complacency Kills the Soul stuff. So
Yeah, I love seeing black T-shirts with white
yeah,
printing.
they're new.
Yeah,
I don't know if anyone's ever done them. Good for fucking Jeff Bezos. I'm going to be dead honest.
You know what? So I told you my Besso story, did I?
No.
Oh fuck. Okay, so that's Lauren Sanchez. So for those of you guys that don't know, that's Lauren Sanchez. Lauren Sanchez was at one point, she was a newscaster in LA.
Mm-hmm.
She and Tony Gonzalez have a kid together.
Right.
Nico, who I know from knee high. Like I've known Nico forever. And so it comes out that, when Bessos breaks up, Lauren Sanchez was the other woman. And so I go to Tony's Hall of Fame deal and I get there early and I like walk in. I see Strahan, and I hadn't seen Stray in years, so we're over there fucking just laughing, bullshitting. And all of a sudden, I see Lauren roll up, and she's like, I'm standing there. Yeah, there it is.
Wow.
Yeah, there's Nico. Oh, fuck, look at them. God damn you, Tony, you son of a bitch. And there's Nico, Tony's son. And
Man.
Lauren's son, Nico, and Tony's dad, former NFL, Tony Gonzalez. God damn. Oh, yeah, this was then they were down in St. Bart's.
Good for fucking Jeff Bezos, man.
Right? So, so I'm standing there. And Lauren walks up and is like, "Oh, hey, Michael," and they're fucking. Then he comes over and then introduces us, and I'm like, "Hey, Jeff, it's nice to meet you. My wife's a huge fan of your fucking Amazon. She orders from you."
Yeah, she's a big fan of your website.
Yeah.
Which website is it? And he's like http //www Amazon.com.
He's looking pretty fucking diesel, dude.
Dude, fucking good for him, dude.
For sure.
What's that?
Test. For sure.
Why wouldn't he be?
I hope he's taking
I'm
everything.
Test. Why? I don't understand why anyone's not.
Definitely getting stem cell.
Good for him. Every fucking day, I hope he gets stem cells. I hope he's getting exosomes fucking injected into the head of his penis.
Yo, if I've hit the fucking high score in life of being Jeff Bezos and having the resources that
At
Jeff
this
Bezos
point,
does,
I
I'm
would
just
ju-
trying to live forever.
No, well, at this point, just fucking, hey, you know what? Take care of it. I'm just going to be over here fucking slaying my hot girlfriend.
Good for him. Good for him.
What's the name of his boat, Charles?
Dude, the guy built a rocket ship that looked like a penis, like fucking Austin Powers.
Dr. Evil.
God damn it.
Did you hear fucking Leonardo DiCaprio save some guy in his yacht?
What?
Yeah.
Good for him. Like there's some distress signal. He's on his yacht doing whatever Leonardo DiCaprio does on fucking yachts. I bet that ride would be a good one of like, can I punch into VR and just cruise through Leo's 20 to 40?
The thing that I like about him is a chick turns 25. She's too old and he fucking gets rid of her. He only dates chicks that are 24 and 364 days.
One of my favorite lines I ever saw was Hugh Hefner. And it was some interview and it was during like the whole thing when he's on reality TV with the girls.
I met him during that time.
Okay.
Hef was a fucking total weirdo.
Of
But he was
course
also in his
is.
fucking 80s.
Of course he's super fucking weird by that point.
Yeah, he was strange.
Like, back to everything we just said about the power money thing. Hef has been surrounded by top class women
Yeah, legit.
forever.
Yeah.
And so,
I mean, Wilt Chamberlain used to come and knock on his door.
right. So this, I think it was Kendra or one of the girls in the interview was like, what's it like dating someone so old? And she says like, well, I've never dated anyone over 23. And Hef said, me neither. I was just like, you're a fucking king. Well done, sir.
Dude, speaking of kings, Charles, we talked about this on the podcast recently, but Charles and I were talking about it. Drake? Dude.
What about Drake?
So Drake fucking slid into some
The king.
Instagram model's DMs, showed up, banged her, took the condom off, went in the bathroom, threw it in the trash. Broad went in there, tried to fucking take the condom and turkey
get
baste
pregnant.
her. He had put hot sauce in there.
Oh,
And
what
so
a
she
champion.
she burned herself up and then tried to file a lawsuit against him for basically fucking torturing her vagina.
Poisoning her? Good for Drake.
Right? Gangster.
That's
What
a
a
fucking-
fucking gangster
Also,
move.
Why? There's no way that there wasn't a toilet. I don't understand why you.
He
would
just
put
didn't
it-
throw it in the toilet. I don't know. He threw it in the trash.
Probably. Because fuck
Fucking
you.
because
That's
fuck
the
you.
plan.
Yeah, he's like, you know what? This bitch is gonna fucking try to turkey baste her this thing. I'm gonna put hot sauce in there. So he's rolling around with some Taco Bell hot sauce, puts it in the condom,
He just
throws it
used
in
the
there.
TB hot sauce in his bag.
I mean,
mixed
dude,
to his
what has he
condom?
got? He's like rolling in. He's like, I don't go anywhere without a little Taco Bell hot sauce because I got to put that shit in there.
Yo, if one of my buddies put his wallet on the table and instead of like a condom ring on it, there's a hot sauce packet, that's the fucking fattest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, dude, he's
That makes me really happy.
If you're like, are you going to talk about hot sauce? Yeah, but it's not for the reason you think.
It's lube.
It's so when I bang chicks, I put it in the condom. So when they try to turkey baste me, they get fucking caught.
It's not
And
the
then-
reason you
The
think.
term is mainline, John.
So dude, I'm not a Drake fan. I'm a Drake fan, 100%. Dude, the fact that he's that gangster and he gets sued on this one, like at that point, we just need to crowdsource and fucking raise some money to pay her off.
Yeah. fucking
I mean, he's got enough money to just fucking. I mean,
That definitely raises Drake from the side of soft.
he goes to fucking LeBron James kids basketball. Like,
Hey, man, right on. Look, I'm not mad at Drake.
no, I'm not mad at him at all. But
Drake's doing great. I bet Drake's having a good time.
I just love the fact that he's out there just slaying Instagram civilians.
What I don't understand of people not having a good time, like I just can't for the life of me understand that people currently yelling about the government on social media. That like, man, if I was to own a garage full of supercars and a giant home and all these type of things and resources, like I don't have any of those and I can insulate myself from this bullshit. Why would I have those things and then spend my day inside yelling at the TV? I don't.
Well, I think it's because people don't have enough to be angry about. Like, think about this, right? Like, I remember watching a
Yo,
documentary.
so stop being fucking angry.
Well, no, but I remember watching this documentary about there was like in Africa, there was this girls' school. And these girls basically had to get up at 3 a.m. because they had to run 5 miles to get fresh water to come back. So they had to run 5, come back 5 and run with water, mind you. And then they would fucking basically bring water, cook, whatever. Then they had like basically a hike that they had to get to the bus to take them to school, which was like a 2-hour drive. Right. On that hike, they had to like avoid lions
Right.
and people trying to like kidnap them and sell them into sex slavery. So they had to be like super stealthy. So 3 a.m., they get like a 10-mile run. By 5, they get everything done. They got like a 2-mile like hike to like through, thorns, lions, poachers, fucking sex traders, the whole deal. Get on a bus to go to school to learn. And then they come home and they got to do it all over again. You know what they don't care about?
Obesity.
Obesity, social media, all this other shit, because like they're literally trying to better themselves in survival. I think what we've gotten to a point where like we don't have enough shit to be mad about. So they're just searching for shit. Now, I argued with, I'm on a text chain with Rob and Doc Parsley about this. It's like, oh, what's going on? I'm like, hey man, is this how it's always been? I mean, you got JFK having threesomes in the pool?
Right.
I mean, you got like all these crazy fucking
The
stories.
government lies to us.
Yeah, the government lies to us. J. Edgar Hoover, the Bay of Pigs.
That's been super consistent.
Kennedy getting assassinated by the fucking CIA, who's mixing it up with the mob because Bobby Kennedy comes in. I mean, all this shit is well established. So we know that these aren't conspiracy theories, even though the CIA coined that term. These are legitimately things that happened. Like, I don't think there's anybody in this country that actually thinks Lee Harvey Oswald killed Kennedy, and then Jack Ruby, who was so upset about the killing of Kennedy, showed up and popped him.
No.
Jack Ruby, a low-level gangster, shows up because he's so distraught that Kennedy gets killed that he fucking caps that dude. No, he capped him because that dude was going to talk.
Yep.
Right. So like, and we know that, Frank Sinatra, the Teamsters, that whole connection with getting Kennedy elected by getting the Teamsters involved in exchange for them opening up the casinos and letting the mob get down to Cuba. All that whole thing's the embargo. I mean, they killed him over that.
Like, we know all that.
I mean, dude, you have Oliver Stone, who's
I haven't seen the new one yet.
Yeah, I mean, you have Oliver Stone on Rogan, who's not even talking about this anymore because it's already fucking established.
Right.
He's like, I don't need to rehash this.
Yeah, I did it 20
years ago, and it was
right then.
everybody saw it. So like everybody knows this. I guarantee there's not a single person that'd be like, "What do you mean the government didn't kill Kennedy?" Like, come on, dude. Like, we fucking know. So the issue comes down to, is this how it's always been? We've just never had this access to information because of technology. Like,
I think that's a big chunk of it. I really do. That even look, I can get people that want to fucking gloss over conspiracy. I get that. But for me, like, simple stuff. At the beginning of last year, the card the government played was, we don't need masks. And then 2 weeks later said, we do. We knew it. But we need them to get to first responders, hospital staff, all those type of things, right? Which, lie or not, I believe would be a virtuous reason, if true. So I'll accept that. But the card you played was, we can't tell you the truth in an emergency because we believe you'll fuck it up because you're too stupid to fucking behave. And we prove that time and time again with toilet paper or any of these other type of things or any of our reactions.
I still want to know,
they treat us this way.
You think there's people that still have hundreds of fucking rolls of toilet paper in their garages?
I hope so.
I hope so. Because those people tried to return it and they were like, fuck you.
They also could have spent $30 on a fucking bidet. And had infinite toilet paper, you gross fuck Americans. Quit wiping your asshole with dry sheets of paper.
I'm with you.
Fucking change your life. You goddamn bunch of animals.
Yeah, we're just getting in the shower.
Either one. Dude, if I met you, and like if I ran into you today and I was like, hey, John, you have a little bit of human shit on your face, like right in the edge of your beard. And I was like, oh, here's a Kleenex. You'd be like, nah, dog, I'm going to shower.
Yeah.
Like, I need
a fucking hot shower.
I'm burning these clothes and I'm going to shower. Like,
no, I mean,
Don't ask me how I got that.
I'll tell you this, since just a little known story, since you're maybe not going to have kids. But so we had the twins.
It'd be real confusing if I did.
Yeah. Obviously, it was, needless to say, we were extremely sleep deprived. So like in the middle of the night, like we're deep in the throes of this, and I go to get the kids ready and get them into the position to breastfeed, the whole deal. So I'm trying to pull the diaper off of my daughter, and as I'm taking it, like her diaper off, she just diarrhea's on my arm, and I'm so tired. I took like the handy wipe and just wiped it off, threw it in the trash, got her ready, got her into position, and just went back to bed. And it was like 2 days later when I finally showered. And as I was in the shower, I was like, man, I had baby shit all over that arm. And I was like, as I was scrubbing it, and I was so fucking tired that it didn't even bother me for like 2 days.
Nah, you're too tired.
And so I've always been like, people are like, oh, this. I'm like, just wait till you're sleep deprived and you're in the middle of the throes of having fucking twins. Baby shit's on you. That's the last thing you're worried about. You're like, it's baby shit. It's like
I gotta piss.
It's like breast milk.
Before we cover the Japanese word I can't pronounce.
Ikigai.
Just like booze, you have to treat weed the same way. Luckily, there's no calories and there's no hangover.
So explain this with weed. Like, is it kind of like alcohol? Like, hey, like one beer is fine. A dozen, you're fucked up. Like one hit of weed, you're like, okay. But then if you were to take like 12 hits of weed, you'd be like drunk like 12 beers.
For sure. But no different than alcohol. Like your tolerance changes, right? Like, so high school me isn't drinking 3 beers here and continuing this conversation.
Yeah.
I'm shitty and way out of it. So the better you get at drinking, if it's not a fucking problem for you, the window of buzz is better, right? It gets wider. Same deal with weed. Like, so now that my tolerance is
superhuman,
it's a lot. The window that's awesome.
So
is
like
really wide. I have to put in effort.
A scale of like high school on one side and then Willie Nelson on the other. Where are you?
I would put myself like 8 out of 10. But the ramp up from 8 out of 10 is a really exponential growth of tolerance. We invested in and have some friends in the weed business in California. And so I'd gone out there to work with these guys, 800-pound mantra. And we're printing apparel for some of the weed folks out there. And sat and smoked with those dudes. And those guys are operating at a different level than I am.
That's like Turley.
Right. And so it's all hash and dabs.
Yeah, they
with
like
them,
yeah.
right?
There's like the vaping, the dab, like there's
So the dabs are great.
there's like a whole level of this weed stuff that when I did some branding for the we had I kind of moonlighted in some of the stuff when we were in California too. I was completely fucking amazed with the vaporizers and the technology and all this other shit. I was like, I just thought it was people that were like rolling big Bob Marley fucking.
That's my
joints.
preferred method is roll a joint. And I like smoking a joint, like smoking a blunt. I like smoking flower. That's my preferred method. And also I like that because the whole vape pen thing,
Feels like Metaverse to me.
it feels
Like
I don't want you confused about what I'm doing here.
Well-
You can't run this off as like, maybe that's a jewel pen and nicotine. Like, nah, it's a fucking joint.
no, like I would much rather like, hey, if we're gonna go out and cut trees, let's cut trees.
Yeah.
And let's go out and fuck some shit up opposed from like let's do it in the Metaverse.
I
Like,
like- Also, it's fucking cool sharing a joint with your friends. It's not cool sharing your vape pen.
because anytime anytime I see somebody vape, I like God, what was it? Do you remember in The Waterboy when he like imagines like the coach's head as a baby?
Yeah.
And the minute I see somebody vape, I see the same thing, but a huge fucking dildo.
Oh.
It looks like the minute somebody vapes that they're just basically mouth fucking taking a huge fucking dildo.
Well, I was going to quote Kenny Powers when he talks to his friend Clegg. He's seen season
Fucking
1.
Clegg.
Out here giving RoboCop a blowjob.
Giving RoboCop a blowjob.
I'm like,
he's been huffing paint.
I'm like,
His
you're over
face is
there
all
pulling on your
chrome.
fucking huge fucking fake dong. Like it just looks awful.
Look, there's a time and a place for vape pens. It's called movie theaters and airplanes. It's why they should exist. Is so I can be high in places I'm not supposed to smoke.
You're not supposed to smoke in airplanes?
No.
Yeah,
I'm
they
not
frown upon
super
that.
into that. But smoking in the airport, yeah, bathroom, whatever. Fucking hit the vape pen. You're good to go. Or edibles. There's great ways to be high in public. Edibles can still get super dangerous. You can way overshoot that one.
Yeah.
I would have a pretty tough time at this point, like overshooting smoking a joint or like a bong. The wax or like doing hash or dabs, that's different. But
Ricky, question: what's a dab?
so dab would be like concentrate. So it just looks like wax. It's like just golden wax, and you would drop it into a dab rig. And so it's superheated glass with a blowtorch. So you heat it up to like 510.
It looks like
530
smoking crack.
degrees.
Like looks like you're smoking crack.
Except the rigs are cool. They're just cool bongs with a different contraption. And so essentially like what you're getting from that is just pure THC and terpene flavor, which is great. And so those guys hosted a thing recently called Legends of Hashish and like brought in all these makers from around the world. And so they sent me the 24 like entries for the contest. And so I've got them at the house working through them. It's
In a day.
no, I'm
It
usually
takes you a
good for
month
like,
to recover.
like 1 or 2 rips on that are pretty solid move. But that high is really interesting because like my head doesn't get cloudy, but the body's done. Just super nice. Weed get a little stupid in the head over enough of it. Edibles will just completely crush you if you overshoot.
Yeah.
They're great. They're great. They're like a time release for sleep. This is the way you should treat it.
Take a bite of this and go lay down.
That's it. You're like, oh, okay. So I need something to keep administering weed while I'm asleep. This is the route. But yeah, edibles don't kick in for like 90 fucking minutes. And so everyone's typical fuck up with edibles is like, I don't feel anything.
Let me have some more.
And then they double down. And so it's not like if you waited 80 minutes and you're like, oh, I doubled down, that the next dose shows up 90 minutes after that. They all make friends inside and show up at the same time. No matter what that fucking amount is, just like, oh no.
So then what happens when you're in oh no? Do you have to just ride it out?
Just get flat. That's the idea. I'm like, oh, what's the worst case scenario here? I just go to bed. That's the overdose. Is like, oh, I'm too high. I guess I'll go to sleep. I don't have any paranoia. I don't have any of those issues with it. The only negative side effect is like me convincing myself not to order cookies. I just wasn't built with enough. Like, I'm not supposed to defend myself from the fact that cookies can be delivered hot at any time, like before 2 a.m. to my home.
Who delivers cookies?
Insomnia Cookies and another one called Hotbox.
Well, that actually originated in Austin with Tiff's Treats.
Hell yeah.
Really, you can order cookies at any time of the day?
Yeah, it could 20 years ago.
Hot cookies.
Did you know I've
Hot cookies,
never ordered food online?
Why?
I've never
They
ordered.
can't
Love
find this damn
inconvenience?
place.
No, I've never ordered food online.
Oh yeah, your house would be brutal.
I've just never ordered food online.
That makes sense.
Like I've never like placed an Amazon order and had them deliver anything.
Pizza.
You know, the last time I ordered a pizza was probably college.
You did, though.
Yeah, it's true in college, but I had to use a
Yeah, that's
telephone.
not online.
I've never used one
got me.
online.
56K.
Yeah, no, I picked up a phone and I called fucking
On the line.
Sounds like RoboCop.
There was a place called Krusty's Pizza that used to bring 2 extra large pizzas and wings for like $20, and that was like our. And then they started these things called Krusty Sticks, where they just think about this genius. They took 2 pizzas, smashed them together, so like the pizza crust is on the outside.
This is the innovation we need.
Put it in the oven, cooked it a little bit, and then sliced them into strips. And then those showed up, and they were called Krusty Sticks.
Genius.
So it was
Awesome.
2 pizzas smashed together, cut into strips. Like at that point, we never ordered a fucking pizza again.
Well, that's the innovation going on in Berkeley.
I'm into
Dude,
it.
some inspiration
and the
from
best
the
is
dots.
it was fucking $20, and then they showed up with dipping sauces. So like we would like I remember there was like during the summer I dated this girl who was like a rower, so she was like 6 foot, like probably about $175. She had like a legit 20 fucking dead hang pull-ups. She was an absolute fucking savage. Right. And I remember what.
Just a note on that. The acceptance of the woman is like 20 dead hang pull-ups, not like her attributes or appearance, not her performance.
No, she was a savage, dude. In the weight room, she was an absolute beast. And the best part
Just set
was
the tone.
she was bigger than my roommate.
Right.
He wasn't 6 feet. And he claimed to be 6 feet, and she was 6 feet. She was way bigger than him. And he was claimed to
He's
be
wearing tall boots on her curtain trips.
he claimed to be like 175, 180. She was every bit, and she was way bigger than him to the point where I was like, dude, you ain't fucking 6 foot 175. She's 6 foot 175. So she
I
would
dated
come,
a girl in college about the same size.
so she would come over, and I remember we lived next door to a supermarket, so she'd come over, and then it's funny, we were hanging out, and she's like, you want to get some Krusty Sticks? And I was like, do I? Let's get them. And then we would sit there and house these things. She was the best. Like, for the mere fact that, like, this chick, like, regardless, I remember Kevin Doherty, who was my roommate, he was like, I don't think I've ever seen a woman eat like that, and I'm turned on.
Yeah.
He
So
was
you're like,
like,
women get this right. She
Right.
wants to eat bullshit food with you, lift weights, and bang.
yeah. And she was a badass. And, like, the funny part was, like, Doe would be like, hey, she coming over? I'll make sure to get extra. And so he would, like, I'd send him over to get stuff. And he would legitimately, as he would say, and Doe was from, like, Central California, he's like, I feel like I got to make her a man's portion. And I was like, you need to treat her like she needs a man portion. And I remember Doherty was like, she's the best. I've never seen a woman eat like that. And I was like, she had 20 dead hang pull-ups, dude. She was a fucking
How do you think she's doing? You try to fucking find her on anything?
No, I'm happily married.
No. That's not the point.
I don't know what she's doing.
Every once in a while, like, I'll just have someone creep in from fucking way back, and I'm like, I wonder if I can locate this person on any of the social medias. And I can't for the most part. I'm like,
my girlfriend from Aaron that I dated, she ended up, she had a cool job. She was a model, you know, like when Surfer Magazine goes on location, there'll be like dudes surfing in some far off place and there's like a hot chick on the beach. That was her job. She was the hot chick in the pictures. So
your life's a lot different than most people's. I want you to know that.
Yeah, so that was her job. And she met some dude in Australia and ended up moving to Australia and getting married to some surfer dude. And I think she got 2 kids. And I only know this because when I was on Kelly Starrett's podcast, she listened to it and she hit me up. She's like, I turned on and saw it, like, how's everything? And she, like, you know, she got 2, like, you know, super cute kids. And I was like, oh, yeah, I'm married. You know, and just,
Super fucking cool.
yeah, super friendly. Like, I'm stoked that everything's going well for you. Best of luck to you.
Yeah, it's really cool every once in a while, like checking back in with someone from your past and being like, holy shit, everything's going great. That's wonderful to hear.
You know, it's better than somebody like DMing you, like, are you still married? And you're like, why, are you divorced? Because I'm fucking happily married. My wife's amazing. Like, I can't speak volumes enough about how wonderful my wife is.
It's great.
Yeah. No, I mean, I got 3 hilarious kids that I cannot stop laughing at. Like they,
I remember. So the first time we came out and hung out, and we were in Newport, and we filmed and did all that. We came to the house and cooked and ate.
Yeah,
your wife is so pregnant at that point.
that's right.
And like you have this cabinet full of supplements, and you're just feeding the girls fucking whatever it is. And,
Was she pregnant with Cash, or did she already have the girls?
I think the girls were in existence.
Okay.
Because this would have been like 2015, 2016.
Yeah. So the girls were born at 11.
But she was very pregnant.
Yeah, she's pregnant with Cashy.
And like the next time I came to hang out, I'm like, oh, totally different human. Yeah.
Well, my wife's not a big person. And
Right.
so the hilarious part was when she was pregnant with the twins, she was so pregnant that like people would just get out of her way. They would like she'd go places and people would be like almost like,
Was it just shift weight from left to
that
right?
poor woman. Like, dude, she was so upset because her feet got so swollen that I ended up buying Normatec boots and like trying to pump like the swelling out of her feet. Dude, she was miserable. There's you always hear these women are like, oh, like this pregnancy was so beautiful. It was this like wonderful thing. And I just remember my poor wife not being able to roll over in bed. And she's like, this is really bad. I can't roll over in bed. She's like, can you help me? And I'm like trying to roll her over.
Oh.
And I'm like, oh man.
Yeah, it'd be real weird if it was us that had to do that.
Species would have died early.
Yeah. It's not a great plan
Well,
for us.
and what's crazy is here, I'll show you the picture. Dude, you get a laugh out of this. So my daughter is 10. So there they are lined up.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So my daughter at 10 is, she's got her. She's tall. My wife's like, well, I didn't marry you because I wanted short kids.
Dude, it's fucking weird that now, like, I've been around long enough with my actual friends, like you or Kelly or any of these people that, like, Kelly and I have been friends for now a long fucking time. And so, like, I've seen his kids grow up.
So, dude, first time I knew Kelly slept on his couch, and I remember in the middle of the night getting up because I thought he was making cappuccino. Like, I little night, I woke up and I heard this shh, and I thought it was a cappuccino, like frothing milk. And I went in there, and it was Kelly holding not Juliet, but
Probably Bear.
Yeah, so it was Bear, and she was a baby, and she was like in the middle of the night, like crying. So he was walking around like shh, like trying to like do the baby noises to get her to stop. And you know, now that I have kids, I know that sound. But I got up and I was like, "We have a cappuccino." He's like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" I was like, "Were you in here frothing milk?" He's like, "No, I'm trying to quiet the kid down." And this is when they lived in this shitty fucking walk up in San Francisco before they moved. And I'm sleeping on his couch and. Yeah, dude, that was like, his kids were just little babies, and it's so interesting it's amazing when before COVID we went to a football game with Kelly and Juliet and the kids, and then we brought our kids, and to see how much they'd grown up, but then to see it now, like it fucking blows my mind because I remember them as like Georgia is like a little tiny girl,
dude,
and then Caroline is like literally holding her like as like this, and then I see him now.
Caroline must have been 8 or 7 when we did the Grand Canyon. Like, that's a big trip.
Yeah.
To sleep outside for 2 weeks.
Yeah, it'd be fine. Everything's fine.
They'll sort it out.
Yeah, they'll figure it out.
There's a little bit of crying every day.
Kids are resilient. That's the best thing I know. But man, it's even the fact that my daughters are 10. Like it completely blows my mind that I'll have arguments. So in the car this morning, we were arguing about we listened to different music, and so we were trying to like different genres, and so I've been trying to like get the girls like an appreciation of like Led Zeppelin and how rock music kind of evolved in this whole deal. And so we were in the car, and I think it was like old country music was what we were listening to today, and so Dolly Parton comes on, and it's like 9 to 5. I woke up and I poured myself a cup of ambition, and Jamie's like, "What's this cup of ambition? Is that whiskey?" I'm like, "No, it's coffee. Why would ambition be whiskey? People aren't ambitious in the morning." And like who's getting like up to drink alcohols? And she's like, "Whoa, there's a lot
metaphor.
of people." She's like, "There's probably a lot of people that wake up in the morning and start drinking whiskey." And I was like, "No, they don't. Well, maybe some, but like a cup of ambition is a code name for a big cup of coffee." And she's like, "Well, coffee sounds like an addiction too." And I'm like, "Wow, I can't argue with that." She's like, "You and mom have coffee." I'm like, "Every single day." And you know what? I don't want a life without coffee.
I'll tell you what, you win some, you lose some. I've got some addictions. Let's not pretend I don't.
It's like but yeah, like it's funny to sit there and have your kids and be like, I remember when you shit on me when you were a baby, and now I'm over here arguing with you the efficacy of coffee first thing in the morning.
Do you think it's gonna be weird when you're just like, oh, here's the keys, leaving a vehicle? You're now just allowed that I'm not allowed to ask you where you're going for some reason.
I try to explain it to them constantly. Like some point, like I won't be here to guide you, and like not even like the metaphorical like I'll die, but like at some point you'll go out in the world and be your own person, and like you'll just check in with us to try to fill us in on your life. Like now it's like wake up, brush your teeth. All the things I'm trying to teach you are all framework for you guys going forward. Because at some point you're gonna be doing something. You're like, oh, I haven't called and talked to my parents in 2 weeks.
Yep.
And you know what? Like that part actually is more hurtful than anything. That the fact that like, you know, because think about it, like, you know, like
yeah, I'm
like,
aware. I have a mom.
Yeah, I know you have a mom.
You know?
I have a mom too. And like I like think about this, like there was a point where like, you know, your whole world revolves around these people, and your parents live in this environment, and they get you. And like my mom's like, you know, the job of the parent, you know, get the kid ready, make sure they're, you know, feel like you've done the good job. And not that I think I hate those people like everybody should have kids. No, they shouldn't.
No,
there's a ton of people that shouldn't have kids.
I'm one of them.
And there's a lot of people that have kids that shouldn't have had kids,
right?
Who felt obligated to have them.
Well, right, and you make that decision before a lot of people ever wake up and turn on.
Yeah.
Of like, oh shit, I'm 30. I followed the plan of being told what to do in their life, and I think that's one of the issues, right? Is most people are told you're going to go to school, you do this. This is the path. This is go to school, you get a job, you get educated.
Dude, you were on that path.
I was on it. I was totally on it.
You were a corporate drone, married. Yeah. You know, we're going to have kids, and
things are good.
Yeah, and then you know what? And then they weren't.
And then they weren't. Yeah. And then
you did a 180.
Not being athletic anymore was the big change of like, oh, all I could see forward, man, was normalcy. And I was super bummed out. I also saw normalcy in being really in pain.
Yeah.
And like walking around with a crutch and doing all that. And man, if I'm fucking honest, like, yeah, there's no way I'm riding the clock out on a fucking crutch and a shitty knee and I can't go upstairs.
Yeah.
Something would have fucking got me way before old age would have. Let's be real fucking clear. Old age isn't what's going to get old Matt Vincent.
You know what? And fuck him if he tries.
Yeah. Best of luck, bud.
Yeah.
my income in modern science, I live to be 150, 160. No problem.
You know what? I don't want to live to be that old. I just want to I want to be 25 to 35 till I'm fucking 80 and then just fucking peel out. If
you could pick like at any chapter in your life that like, that's the machine you get to run with forever.
Yeah, it would have been probably like 20, 26, 27. I would have taken that one for the fucking, I'd take that. If I was like, I always think like if I got the chance to like, become a vampire where like freezes time.
Yeah, like That's basically the question.
There was a moment right in time where I would be like, that would have been my vampireness.
I'm afraid this is the one I go with. Like even with a shitty fake knee, I don't want to be fucking fat like that guy was forever. Yeah, eventually he's done throwing.
Well, the best is when I'll see you post those videos and I'll be like, oh, fuck, lunchy.
Meanwhile, that guy's wildly more athletic than
but I was about to say,
that guy would move.
No, I mean, dude, you were fucking like spinning. I mean, you remind me of the dancing bear in the fucking Russian circus.
Circus bear, man.
Yeah, and dude, you were fucking athletic as shit.
Super fun.
Lunchy. That's the word that we used to use in the NFL. Like when a dude like looked like I don't know, like somebody said, like we think of that guy.
Lunchy.
He looks a little lunchy. And, that was a code name for. You're fucking like the type of fat where like if I were to put my finger in real hard, it would stay indented. That's lunchy.
I've had more than one time where I had that. God damn it! I had to have surgery on my leg for like cellulitis. If I could just push it, I had the clay leg. It happens.
That's lunchy.
Yeah, does not everybody deal with the clay leg at some point in their existence? I
remember there was a dude his back was lunchy. They were like working on him. They pushed and I could see the fingers in there, and I was like, "That's lunchy."
Oh,
and God, I can't remember who fucking used that term. He's like, "Oh, he looks a little lunchy," and ever since then, I've used that one.
Well, earlier Matt was like, "Would you say memory foam?"
Yeah, like you made a memory foam.
That's
like
lunchy.
I'm willing to bet, like old me, you could have like mushed onto the Peanuts comics and then peeled it up and like been like, "Oh, it's there," like silly buddy. I do have all this interesting extra skin now that I've lost weight.
Well, do you like? I don't notice it.
No, but like. How much does your skin on your bicep pull?
Not that much.
You see.
Right? Like it's interesting.
What, do you just have extra skin?
Yeah, it's just fucking there, man. It ain't going anywhere. No, yours didn't do that. You've been about the same size.
Yeah, I've been like the same size for
But, like,
the last 10 years.
Even this, it's just like, just moves. Oh, well. I don't know if I can do about it. It's a receipt.
Yeah.
I got to do really big, cool, strong shit at one point in my life. I can move on.
Yeah, but like when you're like 6 foot 340, like that's a big difference. Like
Yeah,
at
yeah, look.
6'6", 300, like it's a little.
Right. Like, I'm not dealing with like any medical issue or grossness from having extra skin. It's only just my bullshit.
You're just a Sharpei.
Yeah.
And Sharpeis are cute as shit.
It gets me out of things. It's hard to hold on to. Like one of those like weird things that they'd sell at Walgreens that like try to slip out of your hand constantly. I don't know what those are called. It felt like sea cucumbers. Look at that jacked arm. Are we going to cover this Japanese Venn diagram?
Yeah, let's get into Ikigai. So I always thought Ikigai had to do with like the different masks that you show, like the one that you only see. Okay.
Oh no. Yeah,
No.
we had Ted Slingerland.
Yeah,
was,
that sounds like right.
Professor. Trying Not to Try was his book.
Yeah.
He was actually on Rogan for. He researched like the history of alcohol and beer. It's like something completely unrelated to we got it in, but he introduced this in the book Ikigai. So imagine 1, 2, 3, 4 circle Venn diagram. So very complex. The outside
I thought a Venn diagram
circles.
could only be 3, but he went to 10.
Hey,
I think you can do
haven't-
anything.
You've been to Japan. They do things better. What you love, what the world needs, what you can be paid for, and what you're good at. So 4 Venn diagrams. The center is Ikigai, and then passion, mission, profession, vocation, all these very complex things. So the bottom line is like when people are at this strange moment, 28 years old, like our Google buddy.
Yeah.
I hate my fucking job. I'm going to go out and play football and do something dynamic with my body.
You know, good for him though, because I think for a
I
lot
know
of
in
people,
the long con that he's trying to get a job here.
well,
Good
I
for
mean,
him.
he could have just asked, but like
No,
at the end of the day, like if there's something that like is your passion and you feel like on your deathbed, if only I'd done this, fucking go do it, dude. Like I mean, I've like the interesting thing, and I've told this on the podcast before. Like I remember my dad was, you know, at the end, and we were sitting there and like trying to like find something for him to live, you know, to keep fighting. And I asked him, I'm like, Dad, is there anything like what's on your bucket list? And everything that on his bucket list was shit that he'd already done. He just wanted to go redo it with us. He's like, I got to go to the I got to, you know, scuba dive the Great Barrier Reef. I got to go to Truck Lagoon. I got to go here. I got to do all these things. And he's like, I got to go to the Galapagos. And he was talking about like traveling and things he'd seen and events. And he's like, I'd like to redo them, but I'd like you guys to all come with me. Because he did them with his Rotary group and my mom. And he's like, I'd love to take you guys. And so it was really interesting that like not a single moment of like, I wish I'd owned another Rolex. You know, if only I'd had a better Porsche or a bigger house. Like it was none of that shit. It was all about memories with his family and being able to share experiences. And it was pretty interesting when like, you know, as my brothers and I laughed, my brother Eddie's like, did you realize everything on Dad's bucket list was shit that he'd already done? He just wanted to do it. Why not just do it on the front side? Like that should be for us to like, there's adventures to have that you want to have your significant other and your friends and your you know, your loved ones around. Like who wants to go do shit by themselves? Like take, you know, and so that was impactful for me in that, you know, nobody on their deathbed is like, God, if only I had worked another 10 hours or, you know, if I had just owned this tie, like nobody gives a shit about that stuff. And I think if you can think about like, you know, but I'll tell you this, I mean, like my old neighbor, Tom Dye, you know, when he was sick, the only thing he wanted was to have a relationship with his kids. And he had fucked that up. And like, he had a poor relationship. And so like on your deathbed or like when the end comes near, the things that are most important to you are usually your connections with your friends and family and the experiences you've had, not the shit you've owned. You know, the Tyler Durden, you know, the more shit you own, the more shit owns you.
Yep.
You know? And so it's like, you know, and even for like money, this is an interesting thing. I try to explain it to my daughter. I'm like, money is only valuable if you can use it in such a way that makes it actionable.
Fuck yeah.
Like
it's a tool.
Yeah, like money's a tool. Like you, like if you have it, like let's say you invest it, you do these things, you have experiences, you know, all the other stuff. But at the end of the day, like you don't hoard it like a fucking, you know, like a Schmiegel trying to hide the ring. I was like, money only is valuable if you can use it in an interesting way to action things. So she's like, you know, has like saved money from like birthdays and people give her all these things. So she has money. She's like, what do I do with it? I'm like, What do you want to do with it?
Whatever you fucking want.
Well, I was like, why don't we put it out in the universe? Why don't we buy you some crypto?
Yeah.
And I was like,
Whoa.
right. So I was like, what, like, so it's just interesting, like the perception that people have of like hoarding. And you're like, dude, Elon Musk is only rich because he's been able to leverage capital and reuse it.
Right.
And like, it's not as if he's like, Jeff Bezos doesn't have $180 billion in the bank, but he's worth that much because of the shit he's leveraged. I mean, I bet you if you looked at his bank account, he's probably got a fucking lot of money, but like
Yeah,
his
probably okay.
worth is in what he's created and the way he's leveraged this shit.
He changed the earth. Like Amazon may be one of the coolest things ever created as far as like a shifting part of society. Fucking incredible what he's made.
Yeah.
From a used bookstore, I get really fucking bummed out that people want to shit on Jeff Bezos or fucking Elon or any of them.
Who shits on Jeff Bezos?
Well, people bitch about these billionaires and what they're doing, like
Why?
trying to go to space and not spending it more philanthropy, but whatever, fucking right?
So here's the worst shit about that, and this is where I go fucking sideways. They've literally tried to raise money for Africa. There was a song, you remember Christmas in Africa? They've raised all this fucking money. You know what they've done? Nothing.
Right.
It took fucking Akon to go in there, who fucking basically with his own money, privately funded, created solar farms and gave those people clean water and access to the internet. All the fucking charitable groups and this and Save Africa, nothing. They didn't do fuck all.
Speaking of that, to this morning, had connected with a new friend, Justin Wren. If you're familiar with him, Justin is a former MMA or former UFC fighter, still occasionally fights MMA, works for a foundation that he helped start called Fight for the Forgotten. Spent a bunch of time in the Congo with these pygmy people and starts helping them dig wells.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes.
So I hung out with him this morning. Great guy. You should absolutely have him.
Yeah.
Have him.
Dude,
He's here in Austin.
We would love to have him on.
Yeah, no problem. I'll
hook us up.
happily connect.
But like to me, the thing which fucking blows my mind is they always think that like, oh, we have to have these organizations. It takes one person and the fucking initiative to go change. And like, it's like this dude, like, I mean, like the VetPaw. I don't know if you've seen VetPaw. They're basically, they're actually one of like Wade's Army and VetPaw are who I give money to.
Okay.
They're a group of veterans who have been created a charity where they go over and protect animals in Africa, like raise money and basically take soft dudes and are like, we're going to take the fight to the poachers.
Dude, here in Story, when we were over there, like there's patrols for poachers and we saw those guys and like, it's just absolutely like, oh, it's shoot on sight. There's no talk about it. There's no arrest.
Yeah. And they hire like legit soft dudes that like, you're sitting up on this fucking ridge with a suppressed 300 Win Mag. You see, like, this is your herd to protect. Don't let them die.
And also, like, man, empathy for the poacher. I get it. Like, you're telling a fucking dude who has nothing. Like, I mean, fucking nothing. Like, we dropped all those guys off that helped us with the rafting trip and reporters for us. And we fucking dropped them all back off their houses on the way back in, like, with the bus we took. And, I don't have a stick that I lean against the door to keep lions out. Do you know what I mean? Like, It's not a thing that I had to order. Like, where's your lion stick? Not a problem I fucking deal with in my small hut. And like seeing all that, it's like,
well, you know what? That's kind
different.
of like, okay. So the one thing I fucking hate is the liberal tiers associated with like people going and doing big game hunting.
Mm-hmm.
So I know, I'm not going to mention his name because people lose their mind, but I have a good friend who's gone out and done these, like gone to Africa, hunted elephants, hunted lions. Like he paid $100,000 to like hunt these things. And what's wild is when they took the elephant, it was like an old bull, no teeth. Like
right, it needs to go. Like, it's conservation.
They got to get rid of him. So he shoots it. They like beat a drum. Like hundreds of people came out and like dissected this thing. Everybody ate. And like he paid a huge amount of money. And that money went to funding that park. And so like this is how they fucking raise money. And then these people fucking get in and like, I'm like, at the end of the day.
Well, and
like,
not only that, but I get the desperation of the poacher side. Like, they're not doing that to try to get fucking rich.
And they're not doing it because they fucking hate these animals.
No.
It's because there's some fucking Chinese corporation that'll pay a fucking, $10,000 for a rhino horn that they're going to turn into 100 million.
Life-changing money for one of these guys to go risk it. And I don't know. I a different empathy for it. I still think it sucks.
Yeah, I do too.
I hate people that are that desperate that they have to do shitty things.
Well, especially for people that are being leveraged. I mean, it's just I mean, like I never really thought much about it, but I also think like, hey, if you're going to go into this, like you're going in your eyes wide shut. Like I'm not feeling bad that the poacher gets shot.
Nope.
Because you know what?
He knows the risk.
Yeah, he knows the risk.
But there's options to get involved with the tour group. Let's just say that. So Luke and I went to South Africa, and part of our mission was like, we're going to see animals that we've never, and we're going to eat some that we'll never get the opportunity to eat in America.
It was a nice filet of penis. He loved it. Real lean. Yeah.
But no, we went on
it's a nice cock meat sandwich.
Great white shark tour. So went out on the boat, did the dive, and it was an amazing experience. But like that town that we had to take some shanky bus to. Well, I mean, it was a small town. Think of Dripping Springs, Austin, a small town too, Cape Town, that lived off of the shark tours. But they were doing it right versus, I imagine, a different way to do things.
I mean, like that was a big part too with the whole world shut down with this COVID nonsense. Think about like how many groups, like, I mean, the funding in Africa for all these safaris and all these hunts just fucking dried up.
Oh, yeah.
And like, and it actually allowed the Chinese to go in there and purchase. They own most of Africa now.
Yep. I mean, it's going to be an interesting next 10 years.
Yeah, well, I'm just amazed, one, that they didn't think that the stimulus money and the fucking, just basically turning on the printing press and giving money, they're like, people are complaining about inflation. I'm like, you guys didn't see this coming?
God damn it.
I don't want to get into it. You were mentioning like conversation with your mom. I just talked to my dad and he was saying, yeah, back in my day, my first house purchased like the loan percentage, 14%.
Yeah.
And now I was asking about mine and then like going into inflation and all this. It was funny. Like,
yeah, but so was their fucking checking account. Got a 14% return.
And on top of it, homes were $25,000.
Right.
So like, like if your home was $25,000, I would pay 14% in fucking in money.
Also, we're in a time that their home was now, everyone's home in that generation was worth 10x what they paid for it.
Yeah, my mom and dad paid $46,500 for their home, and my mom sold it for fucking $2+ million.
Yes, and I'm just commenting on some of the things that my money-centric father is speaking to me about versus like the, the trips, the memories, and I'm just.
Well, I really.
That's how he thinks, though.
He's but
tax attorney.
It's an older generation, but it just because my dad was like that. My dad lived like he acted like every dollar was his fucking last dollar. Like it was funny. I'm like, all right, there you are. Pry that one out of here. But that was
hard to say if he also had a Porsche.
Oh yeah, my dad had a Porsche, a Rolex. He lived in a nice house in Palos Verdes, amazing, and he acted like he was
frugal guy I've ever heard.
Like fucking peeling out. But that was how they lived, or that was the mentality. But what was amazing was on his deathbed, it wasn't like, oh, thank God I saved that extra $5, or thank that. Like it was, these are the things that I did. These are the amazing things I saw. I'm just sad that you guys weren't here, and I would like to redo them with you guys.
Whenever I punch out, I hope I got about 75 cents in an account somewhere.
You know what that sounds like? Great fucking timing and a hell of a budget.
Yep. Well, I mean, you're recording a podcast and capturing these moments, like the spoken word. You don't have to write a book. You got the old stuff.
Well, or what's wild, I always think that after we just keep droning on in these podcasts, that at some point my kids or my grandkids or whoever it is going to be able to go back and listen and be like, my fucking granddad and his friends were absolutely out of their fucking minds. Well, you want to fucking listen to these podcasts?
This was a job?
You want to hear shit talking? These guys actually were in a room with other humans, not in the fucking infinite verse, but they literally showed up and breathed the same air and drank beers with their friends and talked about all the crazy shit they did.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, Jamie does watch it and reminds me how not funny I am. I'm like, all right.
She
Thanks,
did,
10-year-old.
She did somehow so.
You ask her how many podcasts she's done? Fuck you.
Well, I think some kids were like, hey, I came across your dad on YouTube. And Jamie's like, are you on YouTube? I'm like, yeah, we're on YouTube a lot. She's like, oh. And then she's like, got on YouTube and she's like, there is a lot of stuff with you on there. And then she started asking me. And then I was like, did you watch any of it? She's like, I did. Text isn't very funny. Oh, and I was like, oh,
great moment.
Fucking landing blows. Now that's funny.
Fuck do you know?
That
yeah,
is
10-year-old.
How many fucking podcasts have you done?
Exactly.
500 fights. That's how many fights it takes to be a legit tough guy.
Dude, I think I have to make moves.
Okay. Well, that was good. I mean, I feel like we could sit here and talk shit forever.
I know we can. I'm busy thinking here. I'm like, how do we do this weekly? This would be really good for me.
Dude, we need to
Fucking
do more shit
shooting the
together, dude.
I love it.
Yeah, we should do more shit together. We're gonna go ride some motorcycles. We'll have some other
The
adventures.
Gambler.
Gambler, you're in.
I'll double check.
Yeah.
I really want to fucking do
No,
that. That's not
I'm gonna pull the fuck up.
If
And I'm gonna honk the horn and be
there
like, get in the fucking car.
if there isn't something that I'm obligated to do for work,
I'm telling
I'm
you,
there.
I'm fucking coming and I'm driving through St. Louis.
why would you go through St. Louis?
'Cause
from
you're in
here
St.
on
Louis.
the way to Oregon.
I'll stop in St. Louis. If not, I'll hang out with Bonnie.
What if we?
And you know what? She'll probably come with me. I'll be like, B, get in the fucking truck.
You know what no one's prepared for is if you have a minivan that also has a weird sidecar, but it's like a Miata. Just
A full size.
like, oh yeah, just
sidecar.
attached to the side.
Wouldn't it be funny if Matt's not there? We pull up and we get Bonnie, and all of a sudden he's like looking at social media. He's like, "What the fuck is Bonnie with Welbourn and these idiots?" And she's like, "I'm here having the time of my life.
This is the best.
These fucking guys rock. You suck, dicks and cocks."
Both?
Is it still there? Is dicks there and cocks?
Yeah. You gotta have
Fucking hot tub time machine. Another quotable movie.
great movie.
Awesome. Well, Matt, thanks for coming on Power Athlete Radio. As always, stoked to have you and fucking sit here and fucking chop it up and drink some beers.
Yeah,
so,
I love it.
So for those of you guys that are interested, Hate Brand, check them out. If you guys haven't heard of Hate Brand, I don't know, you've been living under a fucking rock. But if you're interested in Power Athlete, you know where to find us, powerathletehq.com. And we'll be seeing you. Bye.
Bye.